Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring today's video.
Now, let's go on a journey.
Welcome to Hero's Journey, a new format for players of all skill levels to put you on the path from pre-release to Commander.
We created Hero's Journey as a way to extend the life of our pre-release decks and to build them into something we can continue to enjoy throughout the years.
Now, it's time to take you on your own Hero's Journey. Hero's Journey is a two-player format consisting of 5 rounds of gameplay and incremental deck building, working your way from pre-release to Commander. The format is intended to be played over time throughout the lifespan of a single Magic set. Between rounds, you and your partner will open products from a single set to fill a shared card pool for you to upgrade each of your decks with.
Each player begins with a pre-release kit that they'll build into a typical 40-card pre-release deck. Round 1 is played best of 3, with a starting life total of 20. After round 1, you and your partner will each open 3 play boosters. These cards, along with the cards in your pre-release kits, will now go into your shared card pool. This card pool will increase periodically as you open certain products, and will be used to upgrade your decks after each round. You'll now use that card pool to upgrade each of your decks.
Round 2 has a minimum 40-card deck size, and will be played best of 3 with a starting life total of 20. After round 2, each player will open a collector booster, with the winner of the round opening an additional play booster. These cards will not yet go into the shared card pool. Each player will now upgrade their decks to a minimum 60-card deck.
Round 3 is played best of 3, with a starting life total of 20. As with round 2, each player will open a collector booster, with the winner opening an additional play booster. These cards will not yet go into the shared card pool. Cards opened from the previous round are now available in the card pool. Now it's time to choose your commander. You and your partner will each pick out a legendary creature from your opens to be your commander. Upgrade your decks to a minimum 60-card singleton to match your commander's color identity.
Round 4 is played best of 1 with a starting life total of 30. The loser of this round gets their first pick of Commander Precon from the set. Each player will pick out a max of 10 cards from their chosen Precon, with the exception of Sol Ring. Cards from the Commander decks don't get added to the card pool. Cards opened from the previous round are now available in the card pool. Upgrade your decks using the Commander cards you picked out and the card pool.
Round 5 is played best of 1 with a starting life total of 30. What's next? Enjoy your new 1v1 60-card Commander decks. Continue to play and upgrade your decks with cards outside of the set to eventually build a full 100-card Commander deck.
Keep watching to see us go on our own Hero's Journey with Magic the Gathering's newest set, Tarkir Dragonstorm. We picked out our pre-release kits, and today I'm going to be repping Sultai. I don't know what in the world has possessed me to play blue, but it's still got the Golgari in there, so we're on brand.
And speaking of on brand, I will be playing Jeskai. Gotta have my blue representation. I'm just really excited to see how the new flurry mechanic plays. And without any further ado, let's just get into it.
We finished building our decks, and here's what I've ended up with. So I've got a pretty basic mid-range Golgari deck going on here with a little splash of blue, but I am trying to push for that new Sultai theme where you're working with counters of all kinds. And I have a pretty healthy amount of things that do care about counters, so we'll see how this goes. I did open this really nice Warden of the Grove that puts +1/+1 counters on itself at the end of each of my steps. So we're gonna see if I get to actually do any of that. And of course, because of my love of Grist, I had to add 2 of the Delta Bloodflies. It's just the insects, they call to me.
For me, I'm running, what I have to imagine is like the stock Jeskai deck, like what Wizards had in mind when they were designing Jeskai. I have a very healthy amount of flurry cards. I think it's 8. I have a pretty low curve. I have like a little bit of ramp, some removal and stuff like that. The only thing that I'm doing that really is outside of the norm is this Frontier Bivouac right here, and it really is just there so that maybe I can cast the Omen on this Whirlwind Stormbrood, but it's sort of a like, if it happens, great, but otherwise it really doesn't matter very much. And then I have the Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. I was pretty excited to open that. I'm running 4 dragons, which is what I would consider to be the bare minimum before running a card like that, so that feels pretty good, and I'm just excited to see how this deck plays.
And just like a normal pre-release, we're going to be playing round 1, best of 3, starting at 20 life. Let's do it.
All right, we got to roll to see who goes first. I rolled. I rolled.
5.
5.
And I... 6.
Wow. Would you like to be on the play or the draw?
I'd like to be on the play.
Okay. Let us begin.
I'll be starting with a forest and passing.
Okay, I'm going to draw. I am going to play a Tranquil Cove tapped. When it enters, I gain a life. So I'm going to go from 20 up to 21. I'm now winning. And I pass the turn.
Target. All right, I'll draw and I'll play an island. I'll pay 2 for a Sultai Devotee. It's a 2/1 zombie snake druid with death touch, and I can pay 1, add black, green, or blue, activate only once each turn.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
I'm going to untap. I'm going to draw. I'm going to play a mountain, and I'm going to cast Devoted Duelist. It's a 2/1 goblin monk with haste. It has flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Oh, great.
And then I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my 2/1.
And I'll take 2, going down to 18.
Okay, and I'm just going to pass the turn.
Untap, draw. You know, I was really hoping for a land. Starting off strong this episode. Yep. It's cool. It's cool.
She kept the classic 2-lander. On the play, too.
Yep.
Brave.
Bold. Very bold move, Cotton. I'm gonna start by tapping an island, and with the Sultai Devotee, I'm gonna turn that blue into a black. And then I'm going to tap a forest and cast Delta Bloodflies. It's a 1/2 insect with flying. Whenever this creature attacks, if I control a creature with a counter on it, each opponent loses 1 life.
Sounds good.
And I will move to combat and swing at you with a 2/1.
Seems only fair. I will go from 21 down to 19. Notably, I'm still winning.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay. I'm going to untap. Draw. I'll play a island. Okay, I'm just going to go straight into combat. I'm going to attack you with my 2/1 again.
Yeah, and I'll go down to 16.
Excellent. And I will pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a forest as my land for turn, and I'm going to pay a green for Snakeskin Veil, targeting my Sultai Devotee. It's an instant. I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature I control, and it gains hexproof until end of turn. Does it resolve, blue player?
That is going to resolve.
Great. So my Sultai Devotee now is a 3/2. I gotta make sure to protect my mana fixing.
Although, it's just this turn, so as soon as it gets to my turn, I could kill it.
Yeah, but like, you have untapped mana and I'm scared.
All right, that's fair.
I'm going to move to combat and I'm gonna swing at you with both of my creatures. And on attack, because I control a creature with a counter, you lose 1 life from Delta Bloodflies.
Okay, I will immediately go from 19 down to 18. And then I have no blocks, so I'm going to take 4.
Yep.
Going from 18 down to 14.
I'm winning.
I am no longer winning.
I'll pass.
Okay.
And he does not have hexproof anymore.
I am just going to untap. I'm going to draw. I'm going to play a Plains. I'm going to cast Ringing Strike Mastery. It's an enchantment aura, enchant creature. When this aura enters, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. An enchanted creature has 5, untap this creature. I'm going to target your Delta Bloodflies.
Yep, this is tapped down.
For my next trick, I'm going to cast Sage of the Skies. It's a 2/3 with flying and lifelink. And when I cast a spell, if I've cast another spell this turn, I copy this spell. So I'm going to have 2 triggers. Devoted Duelist will trigger the Flurry. Since it's my second spell, it will deal 1 damage to you.
Yep, and I go down to 15, still winning.
And because I've cast another spell this turn, Sage of the Skies is going to make a copy of itself. So I have 2 of them. And then I will move to combat. And I will attack you with my 2/1.
Yep, I go down to 13, no longer winning.
And I'm just going to pass.
All right, I'll untap and draw. And wouldn't you believe it, I don't have a land.
Oh no.
It's fine. I have things I can do.
At least you still have the Devotee for fixing, because...
Yeah, like I can use one of the forests for the black.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start by paying 3 for a Sibsig Appraiser. It's a 2/1. When this creature enters, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So I hopefully have a land.
Well, let's hope.
Don't want this one in my graveyard. Oh no! Let's see what I can do with 3 lands.
No!
Listen, it's something I can cast and it's good.
All right.
It's important. Well, I can't cast it now, but it's good. Trust me, trust me.
Okay.
Trust. Trust is not given, it's forced. It's so tempting to move into combat and swing at you and try to get rid of one of those, but I think I'm safer right now holding off and passing.
Well, I think your inclination to immediately go to combat is something you might need to resolve in therapy. But I accept your passing, and I will untap, and I will draw. I will play a Swiftwater Cliffs as my land for turn. When it enters, I'm going to gain a life, going from 14 up to 15. And then I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with both of my 2/3 flying lifelinks.
And I will take 4, going down to 9.
And I will gain 4, going from 15 back up to 19.
I don't like this game.
And I'm going to pass.
You're going to pass? That's it?
That's it.
All right. Untap and draw. Oh, God. Why? Why?
Well, you could have had another land.
It wouldn't have mattered. It probably would have mattered. It probably really would have mattered.
Yeah.
It actually really would have mattered.
Well, as we learned today, folks, don't get greedy with your lands. If you're missing lands and you see one on top, just draw it. Just draw it.
Technically, it wasn't on top. It was below the other one.
It still applies. Get the land.
I'm gonna pay 2 for an Undergrowth Leopard. It's a 2/2 with Vigilance. I can pay 1, sack this creature, and destroy target artifact or enchantment.
No.
I'm gonna move to combat, and I will swing at you with the Devotee and the Appraiser.
I will declare no blocks.
All right, you'll take 5.
Okay, I take 5, going from 19 back down to 14.
And I will pass my turn.
I will untap, draw. I'm going to play a Plains as my land for turn. I am going to cast Wayspeaker Bodyguard. It's a 3/4 Orc Monk. When it enters, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. And it has Flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, tap target creature and opponent controls. And I'm going to cast Charring Bite. It's a sorcery omen. It deals 5 damage to target creature without flying. I'm going to target your Sultai Devotee.
Oh, I hate this.
And it's my second spell this turn, so Devoted Duelist is going to deal 1 damage to you. And I get to tap target creature and opponent control. So I'm going to tap your Undergrowth Leopard.
Yep. All right, well, I'm glad I attacked with it. Sultai Devotee goes to the graveyard. I go down to 8, and my Undergrowth Leopard gets tapped.
And because I cast the Omen, the Twin Maw Stormbrood gets shuffled back in. All right, and I shuffled. I'm just gonna go to combat. I'm gonna attack you for 6.
Yeah, that'll put me down to 2.
And I'm gonna gain 4, going from 14 back up to 18.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna pass the turn.
At the end of your turn, we're paying 1, sacking this, and destroying your enchantment.
All right. All right, what can you do with 3 lands?
Chat, I'm starting to feel cooked, as the kids say. I will say, just as a side note, the other card was the Undergrowth Leopard, and I just really, really wanted to get rid of the enchantment.
You know what it was? Your insect was in distress, and because of your devotion from playing Grist and your history of Golgari,
Yep.
you just couldn't bring yourself to take the land when you knew there was something you could do for your insect.
I know. Well, anyways, I untapped, I drew, and I did get a land. There's that. That's it.
Still no swamps.
No, you got rid of my fixing, and
Even that land you binned wasn't a swamp.
yeah. I have nothing to say. I'm hurt. I'm very hurt. I'm gonna pay 4, finally, to cast Naga Fleshcrafter. It's a 0/0 snake shapeshifter, and I may have this creature enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. I'm gonna have it enter as a copy of your Sage of the Skies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But now my Fleshcrafter is a 2/3 flying lifelink, so I don't think I'm totally screwed. I'm gonna pass.
Okay, I'm gonna untap and draw. I'm gonna play a Frontier Bivouac as my land for turn. Okay, well, I'm gonna move to combat. I'm gonna attack you with everything.
All right.
So I have 2/2/3 flying lifelinks in the air, a 2/1 on the ground, and a 3/4 on the ground.
Okay. I'm gonna block one of your flyers with the Fleshcrafter. I'll block your Goblin with my Bloodfly, and then your big boy with the Appraiser.
That works for me. So my Devoted Duelist will die.
My Bloodflies and my Appraiser will die, and then...
You take 2, but you gain 2 at the same time, so your life stays exactly the same.
Yep.
And everything else stays on the board.
But you also gain life.
And I will gain 4 life, going from 18 up to 22.
Why didn't I keep the land? Okay.
And then I am just going to pass the turn.
All right. Let's see what I can do. I'll untap and draw. Can't cast that. Boy, do I miss my mana fixing. Since I don't really have any other options, I'm gonna pay 3 for a Warden of the Grove. It's a 2/2 Hydra. At the beginning of my end step, I put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Whenever another non-token creature I control enters, it endures X, where X is the number of counters on this creature.
That card seems pretty powerful.
It could be, not looking likely for this situation.
Yeah, that's if you had that several turns ago, I feel like it really would have done a lot of work.
Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna have to pass. At the end of my turn, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on the Warden. So it's a 3/3.
And in your end step, I'm gonna cast Whirlwing Stormbrood. It's a 4/3 dragon with flash flying, and I can cast sorcery spells and dragon spells as though they had flash. And then I will untap.
I'm dead.
It would seem so. I will move to combat. And I will attack you with everything.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Game 2?
Game 2, and hopefully I actually get mana this time. That I don't immediately throw into the graveyard.
And
I've learned.
And you actually get all your colors. Like
that was rough. I didn't draw a single swamp.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's do it.
Since I got totally demolished, I'll go first.
All right, let's do it.
And I knew they were in there somewhere. I'll play Swamp as my land for turn.
What she didn't tell you is in between games, she actually pulled out all of her lands and replaced them all with swamps. All right, I will draw, and I will play a Tranquil Cove tapped. When it enters, I gain a life. I go up to 21.
I'll draw, and I'll play a Forest. I'll pay 2 for an Unburied Earth Carver. It's a 2/2 human warrior. I can pay 2, sack another creature, and put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
I will untap. I will draw. I will play a Montagna, and I'm just gonna pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a Swamp and pay 3 for a Champion of Doosan. It's a 4/2 human warrior with trample, and it has Renew, which is a new mechanic in this set. I could pay 1 and a green and exile this card from my graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter and a trample counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery.
That's really neat. Okay.
It's really cool. I'm really excited to see, as you're excited for Flurry, I'm excited for Renew.
It's a lot like the scavenge mechanic from Return to Ravnica, where it was like, oh, if the creature's in the graveyard, you can pay a cost, you exile it, and you put its power in counters on a creature. This is that, except instead of getting the power in counters, you get like 1, or I've seen like some of them are like 2 or something like that. And then you get its abilities onto it. And I think that's a really cool twist, a really nice touch for Sultai.
It is a little difficult for me as a heavy graveyard player. I don't like exiling my graveyard. I like to cast the things from my graveyard. So we'll see if I can let go.
Well, maybe another way to think about it is you're not exiling them from your graveyard. You're just casting a different spell from your graveyard.
That's actually a good way of looking at it. Yeah, you're the optimist to my pessimist.
That's how we balance each other out.
Exactly.
That's why my side is all like orange and yours is all purple and dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I will move to combat and I will swing at you with the 2/2.
I will take 2, going from 21 down to 19.
I'm winning. All right, I'm done making that joke. I will pass.
Okay, I'm going to draw. I'm going to play a island. I will cast the Dragonstorm Globe. It's an artifact. Each dragon I control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, and I can tap it for 1 mana of any color. And I will pass the turn.
This is a scary start. Like, it's eerie how...
Like reserved of a start it is? Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I was trying to find the word, but maybe it's just because I'm actually able to play things this time that I'm very jarred.
Yeah, this is a much slower start than my last game.
Yeah, I will untap and draw, and I am only drawing mana now. Still no blue.
Yeah, no blue this time.
But it's okay because I will pay 2 for a Sultai Devotee.
Nice.
And I'll move into combat and swing at you for 6.
Okay, I take 6, going from 19 down to 13.
And I'll pass.
I untap. I draw. I'm going to cast Equilibrium Adept. It's a 2/4 dog monk. When it enters, I exile the top card of my library, and until the end of my next turn, I can play that card. And it has Flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, this creature gains double strike until end of turn. So I will exile the top card of my library. It's a Quarry Mountain Stalwart, which might be relevant later. And then I will play a island, and I will pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw, and I'll play an island as my land for turn. I'm gonna pay 4 to cast Naga Fleshcrafter, this time not out of desperation. And I will actually copy my own Champion of Doosan. So he becomes a 4/2 with trample. I'm gonna move to combat and I will swing at you with my Devotee and my Champion.
Okay, no blocks. I'm gonna take 6 and go from 13 down to 7.
And I'll pass.
I untap, draw. I'm gonna tap 3 and cast my Quarry Mountain Stalwart. It's a 3/3 human monk with Flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, this creature deals 2 damage to each opponent and I gain 2 life. And I'll play a mountain as my land for turn. And I'm gonna cast Monastery Messenger. It's a 2/3 Flying Vigilance Bird Scout. When it enters, I put up to 1 target non-creature, non-land card from my graveyard on top of my library. I don't have any, so it's just a 2/3 Flying Vigilance. And it is my second spell, so the Quarry Mountain Stalwart will do 2 damage to you and I will gain 2 life.
I go down to 18.
And I go back up to 9. And my Equilibrium Adept will gain double strike, but I'm just gonna pass the turn, so.
Sounds good. I will untap and draw. I'll play a forest. I haven't missed a single land drop this game.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're a completely changed person.
I know, it took a lot of hard work, really a lot of introspection.
I respect that.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna pay 3 and cast Dragon's Prey, destroying your Stalwart.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It will die.
And now I'll move to combat. I'm gonna swing out. Totally not concerning. It's fine.
You have 1 card in hand?
I have 1 card in hand and I have all my colors.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're running the Snakes in Veil because we saw it last game, so if I assume everything has 1 more power and toughness, how would I block? I'm currently taking 8, 12, so I'm currently dying. Okay. I will block your Unburied Earthcarver with my Equilibrium Adept, and I will block your Champion of Doosan with my Monastery Messenger, and no blocks on either of those.
All right, it looks like we'll trade our champions and messengers. That was a weird way of putting that. My Earthcarver will die, and you'll take 7.
Okay, I take 7, going from 9 down to 2. My Monastery Messenger and your champion will trade.
And my Earthcarver dies.
Okay.
Second main phase. I'm gonna pay 2 for the Champion of Doosan's Renew, exiling this card from my graveyard and putting a +1/+1 counter and a trample counter on target creature, and I'm gonna choose my Devotee.
Yeah, now it has Death Touch and Trample.
Yep.
Oh, that's Trample?
I don't even know if the camera will pick that up. But there's my little trample counter.
I like it. Very angry.
With that, I'll pass.
Okay, I untap. And I draw. I will play my Naga Flesh Crafter. I will have it enter as a copy of my Equilibrium Adept. And when it enters, I exile the top card of my library, and until the end of my next turn, I can play that card. And it's a land, which I will play. It will enter tapped. And I will pass, and I'm pretty sure I just die when you swing.
Play it out, or is that it?
No, yeah, play it out. Do it. What if she doesn't swing for some reason?
What if? What if I exile my whole board?
What if you choose peace just this once?
Now all I can do is draw lands. That's actually crazy. Yeah, I'll move to combat and swing out.
Yep, and I block both of them. And unfortunately, the Death Touch, you can assign 1 damage to Fleshcrafter and then trample over the other 2 to me. So I will die.
Oh, that's actually crazy. I didn't know that's how that worked.
Yeah, because with Trample, you just have to assign lethal damage to the creature.
Yeah.
So you assign 1, and then it has 2 damage left over, which tramples over and hits me.
I had no idea that that's how that worked.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I assumed you picked that creature.
Nope, I just picked it because this one already had trample. It's like, I'm not giving it trample.
Well,
It's not useful.
This was a learning moment then. Yeah, that's how that works. That's why I'm dead. Because otherwise I would be able to block and like stay in the game, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Sweet. All right, game 3.
Game 3. I'm doing it, Chad. I'm doing it.
I like that you keep calling them chat.
Chat has transcended just being an internet thing. Like, people say chat just like in normal day speak now.
Really?
So it's a Gen Z thing, I hear. I'm Gen Z. So like, yeah,
Well,
but
me,
believe it or not.
you know, back in my day, we didn't say things like chat out in public. We just said it online, on Twitch.
You had the internet back in your day?
I've been around for a long time. All right, we're ready for game 3. Since I lost, I get to finally be on the play. Let's start. I will play a Tranquil Cove tapped, and I get to gain a life going up to 21. And I pass.
I'll draw and play an Opulent Palace tapped and pass.
How opulent.
How palace? Very opulent. Much palace.
I'll play a land. I'm just gonna pass the turn.
Untap and draw. I'll play a forest and pay 2 for everyone's favorite Sultai Devotee. And I'll pass.
Okay, I will draw. I will play a Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. Can tap for colorless, can tap for 1 mana of any color, only for dragon or omen spells. And I'll play Poised Practitioner. It's a 2/3 human monk with flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, I put a +1/+1 counter on this creature and I scry 1, and I pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play an island and pay 3 for Champion of Dusan. Deja vu. I have been in this place before.
Higher on the street?
I don't know the next line.
No, that was Aether Drift that you're thinking about.
Yeah,
We're in Tarkir now.
I just stumbled through these omen paths, you know, it's hard to keep up.
I get you.
I'm gonna move to combat and I will swing at you with the Devotee. Choose.
My life or my Poised Practitioner? No blocks. I'm gonna go from 21 down to 19. But now all of Tarkir knows you're here.
I'll pass.
Alright, I'm gonna untap. I'm going to draw. I'm gonna play a land for turn. Alright, I'm going to tap 2 to cast Charring Bite. I'm gonna deal 5 damage to target creature without flying. I'm gonna kill your Sultai Devotee.
Don't like that. That's kind of mean. It'll die.
Alright, now I get to shuffle this back into my deck. I will say my Twin Maw really has it out for that Devotee. It has killed it twice.
Apparently.
Alright, for my next trick, I will cast Ringing Strike Mastery, targeting your Champion of Dusan.
Come on.
Here you go.
Yep.
And because I cast my second spell this turn, my Poised Practitioner will get a +1/+1 counter, and I will scry 1. And I will leave that on top. And now I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my Poised Practitioner, attacking you for 3.
Yep, I will go down to 17.
And I pass the turn.
You say that so soft and gentle as if you didn't just, like, demolish my board.
This is the Jeskai way. Even in violence, we are peaceful.
Yeah.
We are centered. We are poised.
Yeah. Yep, I see how it is.
Only in defense, never for attack. It's a defensive swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of self-defense.
I mean, you swung first.
You know, that was so long ago. No, I don't even remember. What? I hate you? When? Anyways, I'll play an island. This is my land for turn. I've never said, like, those words before this game.
Play an island?
Yeah, I'll play an island.
This is crazy. You do have all your colors, though.
I do have all my colors. I will pay 3 for the Sibsig Appraiser. I will look at the top 2 cards of my library and put one of them into my hand and the other into my graveyard. I'm gonna put a swamp into my graveyard and the other card into my hand.
I see you haven't learned from putting the land in the graveyard. Although you have lands this time, so you're actually not. You're in a completely different position.
I can make sacrifices now.
It's nice. It's a good feeling.
It is.
Not feeling desperate for the land.
Exactly. I'll go ahead and pass.
Okay, I will untap. I will draw. I am going to cast Flush Out. It's a omen. I discard a card, and if I do, I draw 2 cards. And I will discard my Naga Fleshcrafter.
My boy.
From drawing 2.
How dare you disgrace my boy like that?
And then I will shuffle this dragon back in. But he likes being in the graveyard. He has his whole renew thing.
Yeah.
So I'm putting him where he wants.
Which I've never gotten to use. I had him out twice, and he never died.
No. I mean, you take good care of your creatures, so.
Yeah.
You are a very merciful ruler.
Yeah.
So. Which is not the Sultai way, but.
No.
Okay, and that's been shuffled. And then I'll play a mountain for a turn. Never didn't have it. And I'll cast Highspire Bellringer. It's a 1/4 Djinn Monk with flying, and the second spell I cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. And because I cast my second spell, my Poised Practitioner will get another +1/+1 counter, and I get to scry 1. I will leave that on top. And then I will move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my Poised Practitioner. It's a 4/5.
Yeah, it big. I'm gonna go ahead and take 4 going down to 13.
Okay, and I'm just gonna pass the turn.
All right, I'll untap and draw. I'll play a forest as my land for turn. And I'm gonna pay 3 for a Warden of the Grove.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to see him back.
Hopefully we can actually see him get bigger than a 3/3. So I will go to pass my turn, and on my end step, I will put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
And I will untap and draw. I'm going to cast Wayspeaker Bodyguard.
He's back. Oh, here to haunt me.
When he enters, I get to return an on-land permanent card with mana value 2 or less from my graveyard or my hand. I don't have any. And then, because of the cost reducing from Highspire Bellringer, I'm going to tap 1 for my Jeskai Devotee. He's a 2/2 with Flurry. Whenever I cast my second spell each turn, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and I can pay 1 to add blue, red, or white, but only once each turn. It is my second spell, so both my Wayspeaker and my Poised Practitioner are going to trigger. Wayspeaker gets to tap down one of your creatures. I'll tap your Warden of the Grove.
Warden of the Grove is tapped.
And then my Poised Practitioner gets a +1/+1 counter, and I scry 1. I'm going to put this on the bottom.
Now, is this just tapped down until end of turn?
Until end of turn, yeah. It will untap when you untap.
Cool.
And then I will move to combat. I'm going to attack you with both the Poised Practitioner and the Highspire Bellringer. So I'm swinging at you for 6.
A lot.
Yes. The Poised Practitioner is on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the Highspire has flying.
Well, I'll take the 1 flying, going down to 12, and I will block with my Appraiser.
Okay, sounds good.
My Appraiser will die.
And I'm just going to pass the turn after that.
All right. I'll untap and draw. I'll play a forest as my land for turn. Notably, only one black source.
I see.
It's fine. I didn't need it anyways. I'll pay 4 to cast the Naga Fleshcrafter again. This time I'm going to have it enter as a copy of my Warden of the Grove.
That seems very good. Okay.
And when this enters, it'll endure X, where X is the number of counters on this creature. So it'll endure 1. So I can either put 1+1/+1 counter on the creature that entered, or I can create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. And we're just gonna start like stacking these counters.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. That's really interesting, because this Naga is gonna end up immediately catching up with this one, and they're just gonna be able to run away with a lot of counters.
So now I have 2 3/3s. I'm actually gonna leave these dice open and ready.
Yeah, you definitely should. It seems like you're going to need them.
And I'm gonna pay 2 for Dragonbrood's Relic. It's an artifact. I can tap it, tap an untapped creature I control, and add 1 mana of any color. And then it has another ability, but that's not relevant for me.
Okay, sounds good.
With that, I will move into my end step, and both of these are gonna get an additional counter. Now they're both 4/4s.
That's so good. You're gonna, the next creature you play is going to endure 4, basically. It'll endure 2 twice.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You either make 2 tokens or like get counters in 1 token, or get a bunch of like that's, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was feeling so good with my Poise Petitioner.
The fact that I can add these counters on the end step and then the endure, it's
very strong.
it's too good. I will pass.
Okay, I'm going to untap, draw. You know what? I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with the Poise Petitioner and the High Spire Bellringer. So I'm going to attack you for 6.
I'm gonna take 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down to 6.
And then I'm going to cast Mardu Devotee. It's a 1/2 human scout. When it enters, I scry 2, and I can pay 1 and add red, white, or black. So I'm going to scry 2. I'm going to put this card on top and this one on the bottom.
What's black and white and red all over?
Mardu. And then I will play a land, and I'm empty-handed, and I will pass the turn.
Wow, an empty-handed blue player.
I know.
Couldn't be me. Wow, this feels really weird.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe, am I converting? Do we need to switch sides right now?
Wow. If you end up going full Sultai by the end of this, we can switch seats.
That's crazy. It's actually pretty crazy. Like I'm not saying it's crazy just for the bit. Like, it's legitimately kind of crazy.
That you're actually enjoying playing blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll untap and draw, and I will play my first black land.
No, you have the Opulent Palace.
I do,
That's for black.
but like, all right, I have my first swamp.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna pay 4 for Cruel Truths. I'll surveil 2, draw 2 cards, then lose 2 life. I'm gonna put a swamp into my graveyard and 1 card back on top. And then I will draw 2 cards and go down to 4. I'm gonna pay 2, tapping Opulent Palace for a black, and I'm gonna cast Delta Bloodflies, and it'll endure twice.
Yeah, you endure 2 twice.
Yeah. And since it gets to endure twice, I'm gonna choose to put the counters on it both times.
Sounds good. So you get 4 counters?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a little gross.
Yeah.
That's a little gross.
It's a 5/6 flyer.
A 2-mana 5/6 flyer.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip combat. I'm gonna move straight into my end step and add the counters to these 2.
Okay. Sounds good. They grow.
They go up to 5/5s.
Very scary.
And I'll pass.
I will untap. I will draw. I'm going to cast your favorite, Sage of the Skies. It's a 2/3 with flying and lifelink. And then I'm going to tap 3 to activate my renew ability on my Naga Fleshcrafter. I exile it from my graveyard. I put a +1/+1 counter on target non-legendary creature I control, and then each other creature I control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn.
Ah.
So I'm going to put the counter on my Sage of the Skies. And now all of my creatures will become a copy of Sage of the Skies until end of turn.
Yeah, they will.
I will move to combat. And I will swing at you with all of my Sages of the Sky. These 4 are 2/3s with flying and lifelink. And this is a 5/6 with flying and lifelink.
Wow. All right. That's rough. Yeah, I only have 1 flyer. We're going around 2.
All right, and I'm up around.
That's crazy.
Jeskai power. Listen, I'm just excited, okay?
Cringe. We're gonna go crack 6 booster packs. We're gonna upgrade our decks, and we'll see you back here for round 2.
We've made our upgrades to our decks, and starting off with me, I didn't make too many changes. I really like where my deck's at. The big thing is you open this Elspeth, and I'm just so excited to run it. I can't not play Elspeth. And I have like a little bit more card draw just to keep my deck churning in the late game. But how about you? You really made a lot of changes.
I swapped out like half of my deck. I made a lot of changes. I cut a lot of like these filler cards here. We opened a lot of really good cards that focus on the graveyard and focus on counters especially. Most of these cards have Renew, which I'm very, very excited to actually get to experience those more because my original deck was really lacking.
Round 2 has the same rules as round 1. Best of 3 with a starting life total of 20.
Let's do it. And since I lost round 1, I'm going to be going first this round. I'm going to start with an Opulent Palace tapped, and I'll pass.
Okay, I'm going to draw. I'm going to play a Plains, and I'm going to cast Mardu Devotee. It's a 1/2. When it enters, I scry 2. And I will put these both on top.
Wow.
I'll pass.
All right, untap and draw. I'm going to play a Swamp and pay 2 for a Sultai Devotee, and I'll pass.
Okay.
I think that's been my first play of every single game so far.
I think you're right. Yeah, it is a very strong opening.
It's the only one I have in the deck, which is crazy. My shuffles are just like top tier.
He just always finds his way to you.
I know. He's really devoted.
All right, I'm going to play a mountain. And I am going to move to combat. Attack you for 1.
Yeah, I'll take 1. I go to 19.
Okay, and I'm going to pass.
Untap and draw. I'm going to play a Dismal Backwater as my land for turn, and I'm going to gain a life. And I'm going to move to combat, and I'll swing at you for 2.
All right, I'll take 2, going down to 18.
And I'll pass.
I will untap. I'll draw. I will play a mountain. And I'm just going to pass the turn.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start.
Sus. I'll untap and draw. I'll play a Jungle Hollow tapped. When it enters, I gain a life, and I get to use the special dice now. And I go to 21.
Okay.
I'm gonna pay 3 for Warden of the Grove. We're starting off strong.
Yeah, that's really good.
I'm gonna pass through combat, and I'll go to my end step.
Okay.
On end step, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on Warden of the Grove, and I will pass.
I will draw. I will play a island, and I'm going to play Magmatic Hellkite. It's one of my new additions. He's a 4/5 dragon with flying. When this creature enters, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Its controller searches their library for a basic land card, puts it on the battlefield tapped with a stun counter on it, then shuffles. I will destroy your Opulent Palace.
Yep, you will. All right, but I get to go find a basic?
Yep, any basic you like.
All right, so I'll get a Forest tapped.
And I'm going to pass the turn.
I'll untap and remove the stun counter from the forest. Draw. I'm going to play a Thornwood Falls as my land for turn, gaining another life, going to 22.
All right.
Apparently I've created a Sultai life gain deck.
Yeah, I see that.
Just based on my tap lands. And I just can't do anything right now. I'm gonna move to my end step. I'll increase the counters on Warden of the Grove.
It's a 4/4 now.
And I will pass.
Okay. I will untap. I will draw. play a Plains as my land for turn, and I'm going to play Jeskai Shrinekeeper. It's a 3/3 dragon with flying and haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, I gain a life and draw a card. And then I will move to combat. And I'm going to attack you with my 3/3 flying haste.
All right, I will take 3, going back to 19.
All right, and I get to gain a life and draw a card. So I go from 18 up to 19, and I draw. After that, I am just going to pass the turn.
All right. I'll untap. I will draw. I'm going to start by paying 3 for Sibsig Appraiser. When it enters, because of Warden of the Grove, it will endure 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 counters on it. And then I'm going to look at the top 2 cards in my library, put one of them in my hand and the other into the graveyard. I don't think there's ever going to be a time where I do this ability and I don't put a land into the graveyard.
I mean, it seems like you're doing fine on lands at this point, so
Yeah.
I really can't blame you.
Yeah, and speaking of, I'm going to play a Great Arashan City as my land for turn. It's going to enter untapped because I control a forest. Yeah, I do. I had to double check. I was like, I have all these tap lands, but do I actually have the forest? And I could tap it to add black. And guess what? I'm going to tap it for black. And one more to cast Alchemist's Assistant, another new addition. It's a 2/1 monkey with lifelink, and it has renew 1 and a black. Exile this card from your graveyard, put a lifelink counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery.
Monkey.
When it enters, it's going to endure 2, and I'm also going to put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Warden of the Grove is awesome.
Yeah, you just played 2 4/3s?
Yes.
That's very powerful.
Yeah. Very cheap 4/3s.
And 1 is lifelink.
1 is lifelink.
Monkey.
I think yet again I'm going to pass combat.
Okay.
And I'll go to my end step and increase the counters on Warden of the Grove. It is now a 5/5. So I'll pass.
I will untap. I will draw. I'm going to play a Swiftwater Cliffs tapped. When it enters, I gain a life, so I'll go back up to 20. Okay, I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my Jeskai Shrinekeeper.
That it?
That's it. Just attacking you for 3.
I go down to 16.
And I go up to 21, and I draw a card. I am going to cast Poised Practitioner.
Oh no.
And then I'm going to tap 1 to cast Ringing Strike Mastery, targeting your Warden of the Grove to tap that down.
Okay. While that's on the stack, I'm going to tap 1. I'm going to filter this through the Devotee to create a green. And I'm going to use that green for Snakeskin Veil, giving my Warden hexproof and +1/+1 counter. Oh, it's a counter.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So this goes up to a, where is it? A 6/6, and it has hexproof until the end of turn.
Wow, you countered my Ringing Strike Mastery. I was not expecting that from you.
Listen, I know it was a green card, but now I'm playing blue, so I got those counters.
Yeah, you're really, you're playing those instants.
Countering in my own way.
And putting counters on things. And I did cast my second spell, even though it didn't end up doing anything. So I'll put a +1/+1 counter on my Poised Practitioner, and I will scry 1. And I will put this on the bottom.
It was a land.
It was a land.
See, I know these things.
And I'm just going to pass the turn.
All right. I was holding on to that.
Yeah, that ended up being really good. I thought I was safe because you just had the swamp up, and I didn't think about the fact that you could filter it into the Devotee. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, I will play a Dismal Backwater as my land for turn, going up to 17. Oh, we're both kind of going a little wide with our decks right now.
But you also get to go tall because your Warden will keep growing. I mean, it's a 6/6 right now.
That is true, yeah. I just wish I had anything to cast.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be bold. I am going to move to combat, and I'm going to swing out at you.
Swing out?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is it a good idea? Oh. But I'm doing it. Call my bluff.
Okay, I'm going to block your Warden of the Grove with my Mardu Devotee, and I'm going to block your Sibsig Appraiser with my Magmatic Hellkite, and I will not block the other two. I take 6, going from 21 down to 15.
And I gain 4, going from 17 to 21. My Sibsig Appraiser will die.
As will my Mardu Devotee, and everything else stays.
And I'll go to second main. In my second main, I will pay 3 for Lie in Wait. Return target creature card from my graveyard to my hand. Lie in Wait deals damage equal to that card's power to target creature. So I'm going to return Sibsig Appraiser and do 2 damage to your Hellkite.
Okay, my Hellkite will die.
And then I'm going to pay 3 to recast the Sibsig Appraiser. And this time, it's actually going to get 4 counters on it, and I will look at the top 2 of my library.
That was a really cool sequence of events that just happened. I mean, it was really bad for me, but it was cool seeing that play out.
Yeah. I just got to recast him, get rid of your Hellkite, and I get to go through my deck even more. And I'm going to put Aggressive Negotiations into my graveyard.
Okay.
I'll go to my end step, and I'll increase the counters on Warden of the Grove. It is now a 7/7.
Okay.
I'll pass. That was kind of crazy.
That was very good.
The lesson here is that bold moves, you need more of them. You need to do it, just do it.
I mean, that was a pretty substantial both life and like tempo swing.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I will untap and draw. I'm going to cast Naga Fleshcrafter, and I'm going to have it enter as a copy of my Jeskai Shrinekeeper.
Interesting.
And then I will move to combat. I'm going to attack you with both of my Jeskai Shrinekeepers.
Yeah.
So 6 in the air.
And I'll take 6. I go to 15.
Yep, we are perfectly matched for 2 seconds, but then when these hit, I gain a life and I draw a card. So I'll go back up to 17 and I'll draw 2 cards. I will play a Tranquil Cove as my land for turn, and it enters. I'm going to gain a life, going from 17 back up to 18. And then I'm going to tap a blue, and I liked it so much the first time I'm going to do it again. I'm going to cast Ringing Strike Mastery, targeting your Warden of the Grove to tap it down.
No.
And you're tapped out this time.
Yep, it happens.
You still get all the other abilities. It's just
True.
You won't be smacking me with a huge creature anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad I swung with it last turn.
Yeah, you got the damage in while you could. And killed my Devotee.
Yeah.
And since that is my second spell, I will put a +1/+1 counter on my Poised Practitioner, and I get to scry 1. And I'm going to leave that on top. And I'm going to pass.
I'll untap, except for my Warden. And I'll draw. All right, I'm going to pay the 5 to untap the Warden of the Grove.
Okay.
I have to do that every time. Oh, that's rough. But we'll do it. I'm going to move into combat, and I'm going to do the same thing.
Swing with everything?
I'm just swinging out.
Okay, well this went really well for me last time. Oh man.
Apparently my Golgari mid-range splashing blue turned into Sultai aggro.
Yeah, you've been very aggressive, but it's been, that Warden of the Grove is really...
Which is an Abzan card. Like...
Yeah, Abzan and Sultai working hand in hand.
That's
apparently.
crazy.
Okay, I think I'm going to block your Alchemist Assistant with my Poised Practitioner and take the rest.
All right, so you'll take 15.
Going from 18 down to 3.
What? My Alchemist Assistant will die, but I'll gain the 4 life. Going from 15 back up to 19.
Yeah.
All right, I'll move to my second main. I'm going to pay 2 for the Alchemist Assistant's renew cost. I'll exile it from my graveyard and put a lifelink counter on target creature. So I'm going to put that lifelink counter on the Warden of the Grove.
Yeah.
I'll go to pass my turn, and at the end, I will increase the counters on Warden of the Grove, who's now an 8/8 lifelink. I have to pay 5 if I ever want to attack with him, but pretty solid, pretty worth it.
I mean, you just did it, and it was very powerful, so...
Especially if I have nothing else to cast, I may as well use the mana.
Yep, all right, I'm going to untap and draw. I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my 2 flyers in the air, swinging for 6.
I'll go down to 13.
All right, I will gain 2, going up to 5, and I will draw 2 cards. I'm going to cast Charring Bite to deal 5 damage to your Sibsig Appraiser.
And it will die.
And this will get shuffled back into my deck. And I'm going to cast Sage of the Skies. It's the 2/3 flying lifelink, and since I've cast another spell this turn, I get a copy of it.
Oh, no. I hate that card. I really do.
And since it's my second spell, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on my Poise Practitioner, and I scry 1. I will leave that on top.
It wasn't a land. I know that.
And I am going to pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. All right, I gotta pay the 5 to untap Warden of the Grove.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to combat. I'm just gonna swing with Warden of the Grove, an 8/8 lifelink.
Okay. I am going to triple block. I'm going to block with my Poise Practitioner and both of my Sage of the Skies. So it's in total 9 power and 12 toughness.
Okay. I'm actually gonna kill your 2 sages, and I'm gonna leave your big boy up.
Okay. Both of my Sages die Warden dies, and I gain 4.
And I gain 8.
I go from 5 back up to 9.
I go from 13 back to 21. And my Warden is dead. And I don't have to pay 5 mana every turn to untap it. I'll pass.
Okay. I will untap and draw. I am going to cast Charring Bite to deal 5 damage to your Sultai Devotee.
I should have let my Warden kill your big guy. Devotee will die.
And my Twin Maw will get shuffled back in.
I was really trying to just leave that up, just to have something on board for if you swing with your swing.
If I swing.
If you swang, if you swinged with your practitioner.
I know. I mean, it makes sense. You dealt with my flyers.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, I'm going to tap 3.
Swear if you have another one.
I cast Sage of the Skies. And because I've cast another spell this turn, I make a copy of it.
I lost my board for nothing. I was doing so well.
And then my Poise Practitioner gets a counter.
No, it doesn't.
And I scry 1.
No, you don't.
I'll leave it on top.
No, you won't.
And I will move to combat.
No.
And I'll swing
No.
with everything that can.
I don't think so.
So it's 12.
Yeah, I'll take 12 and I go to 9.
And I will gain 2, going from 9 back up to 11, and I will draw 2 cards.
What is happening? What is this game?
The life swings back and forth are pretty crazy. Which, speaking of, I will play a Windscarred Crag tapped, and I will go from 11 back up to 12, and I will pass the turn.
I will untap and draw. No, why? I'm gonna start off by paying 4. This is bad. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to anyways. I'm gonna pay 4 for Lacid Prowler.
Ooh.
It's a 5/5 Snake Ranger, and when this creature enters, I may mill cards equal to the number of lands I control. And I currently control, I don't need to pick this up, I just paid 4. I control 7. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna mill 7 cards.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go one by one here. I don't want to mill 7 cards. I don't want to mill them anymore. Auroral Procession. Oh, that hurts. Einok Wayfarer. Feral Deathgorger. Thornwood Falls.
There's a land.
Champion of Doosan. Essence Anchor. And the Naga Fleshcrafter. Okay.
We have a nice full graveyard now.
I do. I really do. The only pro to this is the cards that have renew.
Yeah.
We're just gonna stack this all up nice so that it's not, you don't need to see what's in there anymore. Okay. And now, here's the thing. For the past 3 turns, I have only been drawing lands.
Really?
Uh-huh. I was really hoping to get the rest of my lands out of there. Didn't.
No.
So I'm gonna play a swamp, and I'm gonna pay 4 for a 100 battle veteran. It's a 4/2, and as long as there are 3 or more different kinds of counters among creatures I control, this creature gets +2/+4. I may cast this card from my graveyard, and if I do, it enters with a finality counter on it.
Okay.
But there are no counters on my board at all. And I think no matter what, unless you want to play it out, unless you want to see me suffer, I just die to your flyers. You have 2 3/3s and 2 2/2s in the air, and I'm at 9.
Yeah, I can swing at you for 10 in the air right now.
Yep.
All right.
Game 2.
Let's do it.
I keep having really powerful starts and really powerful boards, and let's see if I could actually find a way to finish these games and not lose. So, round 2.
All right, I have full confidence in you. I hope you know that.
And I'm gonna start off with a swamp, and I will pass.
Okay, I will draw. I will play a Mystic Monastery tapped, and I will also pass.
I'll draw. I'll play an island, and I'm gonna pay 2 for Dusk Sight. It's an omen. I can put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature, which I won't, and I'll draw a card.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll draw the card, and then this will get shuffled back in.
It's a good use of that, yeah, just as a way to cycle it away.
Yeah, with that, I will pass.
Okay, I will untap. I will draw. I will just play a Tranquil Cove tapped. When it enters, I will gain a life going to 21, and I pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a forest as my land for turn, and now I have all my colors. And I'll pay 3 for an Essence Anchor. It's an artifact, and at the beginning of my upkeep, I surveil 1. I could tap it and create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Activate only during your turn, and only if a card left your graveyard this turn. And I'll pass.
I will untap. I will draw. I'm going to play a Plains, and I'm going to play the Quarry Mountain Stalwart. Haven't seen him since the very first game. And I'm going to pass.
All right. Well, untap. At the beginning of my upkeep, I'll surveil 1. And I'm going to keep that on top. And then I'm going to draw it.
I wonder what you're going to draw.
It's pretty great. I'll play an Opulent Palace as my land for turn. And I'll pay 3 for the thing I definitely didn't just draw, which is the Champion of Doosan.
Okay.
And I will pass.
I will untap. I will draw. I'll play a Swiftwater Cliffs tap, going from 21 up to 22. I'm going to cast Devoted Duelist, and I'm going to choose to be very aggressive. I'm going to tap this for blue, and I'm going to cast Ringing Strike Mastery to tap down your Champion of Doosan.
All right. Go for it.
He is tapped down, and because it was my second spell, Quarry Mountain Stalwart will do 2 damage to you, and I'll gain 2 life.
I go down to 18.
And I go up to 24, and my Devoted Duelist, since it was my second spell cast this turn, it will do 1 damage to you.
And I go to 17.
And then I will move to combat.
Oh my god.
And I'll attack you for 5.
I go down to 12.
And I will pass. Like I said, aggressive.
What is happening? I'll untap, and on upkeep, I will surveil. And I'm going to put this card into the graveyard. It was a Jungle Hollow.
You really love putting lands into your graveyard.
But this time, it'll be for a reason. But first, I gotta draw. I'm gonna pay 4 for the Laced Prowler.
Ooh.
And I am going to mill 4 cards.
Okay.
And let's hope any of these are lands. Land. Land. Land.
Oh, wow.
Inoc Wayfarer.
Wow.
Wow, I just hit a pocket of lands.
Yeah, that's gotta feel good. You know that's 4 lands that are out of the way.
Yeah, but 3 life that I will not be gaining.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That's 1 lightning bolt.
And now I will play a Swamp as land for turn.
Okay.
And I will go ahead and pass.
Okay, I will untap and draw. Notably, you have a huge 5/5 now.
It came with a cost. I didn't have to mill, but...
No, it's entirely
worth
optional.
it.
But it was great there.
Which, if I didn't say it during the last game, Laced Prowler has renew 1 and a green, exile this card from your graveyard, and put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. Activate only as a sorcery. So that's why I really want those land cards to be hitting my graveyard.
No, that makes sense. You can make something huge, and now it's currently +4/+4. I'm going to play an island as my land for turn, and I'm going to play the Jeskai Shrinekeeper again. And then I'm going to move to combat, and I'm going to attack you with just the Shrinekeeper. 3/3 in the air.
I'll take 3, going to 9.
And I will gain a life, going to 25, and draw a card. And with that, I'm going to pass the turn.
Okay, I'll untap. Beginning of upkeep, I'll surveil. I'm actually going to put this card into my graveyard. It's a lie in wait. And then I will draw for turn. And then I'll play a forest as my land for turn. I definitely didn't just draw it. And I'm going to pay 5 for an Adorned Crocodile. It's a 5/3 with when this creature dies, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. And it has renew for a single black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And I'm not gonna go to combat, I'm just gonna pass.
You got it. I will untap. I'm gonna play a Plains as my land for turn, and I'm going to move to combat. And I'm just gonna attack you with a 3/3 again.
All right, I will go to 6.
And I will gain 1 going from 25 up to 26, and I will draw a card. I am going to cast Mardu Devotee and Scry 2. I'll put this one on top and this one on the bottom. And then I'm going to cast fan favorite Sage of the Skies.
No.
And when I cast it, since I've cast another spell this turn, I get to make a copy of it.
Yeah, you do.
And I will trigger both of my flurry abilities. Quarry Mountain of
will.
Starward will deal 2 damage to you, and I will gain 2 life.
I go down to 4.
And I go up to 28. And Devoted Duelist will deal 1 damage to you.
I go to 3.
And I'm just going to pass the turn.
I'm gonna untap, I'll surveil, and I'm gonna put this into my graveyard. It was a Sibsig Appraiser.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna draw for turn.
Is it another land?
It's another land.
You milled 4 lands and you still drew 2 lands in a row?
And I haven't missed a land drop.
The lands heard of you binning all of them and they came back for revenge.
Yep. So I'm gonna play a Thornwood Falls, tapped. I'm gonna gain a life going up to 4. This is actually ridiculous. I'm gonna pay 2 for Auroral Procession, returning target card from my graveyard to my hand, and I'm actually gonna return that Appraiser.
It's like you never milled it.
I can't believe this. And I'm gonna pay 3 to cast the Appraiser. And I'll look at the top 2. Put one of them into my hand and the other into the graveyard. They're both lands. I shuffled this.
I'm telling you, the lands are coming back for revenge.
That's game.
Yeah, because I
have
either
flyers.
swing at you for 7 in the air, or I just double spell and swing with anything.
Listen, getting mana flooded is just part of the game. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad deck builder. It doesn't mean that there's too many lands in this deck. You know what? No, there's too many lands in this deck. I should be running 16, not 17. I need to cut one of these.
I don't know. I mean, you have a pretty decent like top end and like ways to use that mana. I think you're running a very reasonable amount of lands. You just got very unlucky. But on the bright side, we have 3 more rounds to go. So you have plenty of rounds to catch back up. You're going to be opening some more packs. Your deck's just going to get better from here. So have faith. We're not even halfway done yet.
And the nice thing is we are upgrading to 60 card next.
Yes.
So I won't be stuck in 17 land hell. So each of us are going to be opening a collector booster, and since you were the winner, congratulations, you get to open an additional play booster. We're going to be upgrading to 60 cards. We're going to be playing best of 3, and our life totals are still going to be at 20. Round 3 has us making some pretty big changes to our decks. I needed a way to get through your board state, so I added about 6 pieces of removal, and anything that's not removal here is going to help me with card draw or adding some blockers. I need a way to push my deck that extra little bit to get my big boys through, and I really think that my 6.5 pieces of removal should hopefully help.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like you really are focusing on slowing me down because I've been able to get in so quick with all of my flyers. So I think that those changes make a lot of sense. For me, when we go into 60 cards, I feel it's really important to have redundancy. So I'm running as many duplicates as I can. And just like you, I really focused on the card draw aspect. But I think with that, we're both ready to go. So let's just get into the games.
Yep. We'll be playing this round best of 3, starting at 20 life. And I lost, so I get to go first?
Yes, as is your right, as the loser.
Wow. All right. F me, I guess. I'll play an opulent palace, and I'll pass.
All right, I'll draw. I will play a Plains, and I'm just going to pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a swamp and pay 2 for Delta Bloodflies, and I'll pass.
Okay, I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna play a mountain, and I just have to pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a forest as my land for turn, and I'm gonna pay 3 for my Warden of the Grove.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm gonna ping you for 1 in the air.
All right, I'll take 1 going from 20 down to 19.
All right, I'll move to my end step and I will put a +1/+1 counter on the Warden. Pretty good early game card.
That's a very good start.
Just builds. And now, because this has a counter on it, when this goes to attack next turn, if it's still alive, you'll end up losing a life.
Well, I like your if. So I'm gonna untap, I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna play a land, and I'm gonna cast Charring Bite to deal 5 to your Warden of the Grove.
Great.
And this is gonna get shuffled back in, but I will pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'm gonna play a swamp as my land for turn, and I'm going to pay 3 for Attuned Hunter. It's a 3/3 human ranger with trample. Whenever 1 or more cards leave my graveyard during my turn, I put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Okay.
I'm gonna move to combat and I will ping you for 1 in the air.
I'm gonna take 1, going from 19 down to 18.
And I'll pass.
All right, I untap, I will draw. I'm gonna play a Plains. I'm gonna cast Mardu Devotee, and when it enters, I get to scry 2. I'm going to reorder them like so, and then I'm gonna cast Sage of the Skies. And because I've cast another spell this turn, I get to make a copy of it. So I have 2 of them. And then I'm just gonna pass the turn. I know you love that card.
All right, I'm gonna start by paying 2, tapping Opulent Palace for a blue, to cast Auroral Procession, returning target card from my graveyard to my hand. So I'm gonna return Warden of the Grove to my hand.
Okay.
And since 1 card left my graveyard this turn, I put a +1/+1 counter on my Attuned Hunter.
He's a 4/4 now.
I'm gonna move to combat and I'm gonna swing at you with the Bloodflies and the Hunter. And on attack, you're going to lose 1 life.
I'm gonna immediately go from 18 down to 17. Well, I'm worried about that Attuned Hunter being able to grow like every turn. So I'm gonna double block it with my 2/2/3 flyers, currently offering to trade 1 of them for your 4/4 and taking the 1.
Effects.
You have priority.
I'm going to cast Caustic Exhale. As an additional cost to cast this spell, I paid 1. And target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. I'm going to target your non-copy Sage of the Skies.
Okay, it will die. And now my copy of my Sage of the Skies will die to your Attuned Hunter. I'll take 1 from the trample, and then I'll take 1 in the air, but I'll gain 2, so my life stays the same. I just lose my other Sage of the Skies.
Let's go. But I know you have more in there, and that's what's scary, especially when you kept both cards on top in your scry.
I did, yes. I did scry both of the top.
Yeah, how many Sage of the Skies do you have in this deck?
I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I have
Just
2.
have the 2. I am willing to put money that one of the top 2 cards is the other one.
We're at 60, so now it's a lot less likely that I get the other one. But you know that I added a lot of card draw.
Yeah.
So we'll find out, I guess.
All right. Well, with that, I will pass.
Okay, I will draw. I'm gonna play a mountain. I'm gonna cast the Highspire Bellringer, and then you know what? I'm just gonna pass the turn.
All right. I'll untap and draw. I'm gonna pay 3, and I'm gonna recast Warden of the Grove.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all.
And I'm gonna move to combat.
Okay.
And I will swing the same as last turn. And on attack, you will lose 1 life.
All right, I go from 17 down to 16. I'm gonna use my Highspire Bellringer to block your Delta Bloodflies and no blocks onto your Attuned Hunter. So I'll take 4.
Yep.
Going from 16 down to 12.
And I will move to my end step and put a +1/+1 counter on Warden of the Grove.
All right.
And I'll pass.
Okay, I will untap. I will draw. And I'm gonna tap 4, and I'm gonna cast Naga Fleshcrafter and have it enter as a copy of your Warden of the Grove.
Great.
I just like it so much that I feel like I need one for myself. Mm-hmm. So it will be a copy of your Warden of the Grove. And I will tap a 1, and because it's the second spell I cast, it costs 1 less. I'm gonna cast Charring Bite to deal 5 to your Warden of the Grove. Yeah, the top card was Mountain plus that, and my Twin Maw will shuffle back in.
I can't believe that stayed Like at the top when you shuffled it back.
Well, no, I have 2 of them because the other
You have
one,
2 of them?
the other one that you saw was like the special art, special border one, and that was a
wasn't paying
regular
attention.
one.
Sorry, I was blinded from you just killing me, killing my warden.
Yeah, I have 2 of them.
Oh my god. Do I have another way of getting it back right now?
I don't know. I mean, you probably do somewhere in your deck.
Somewhere. A royal procession is probably the best way for me to get it back. We'll see. I actually have no idea what I have in this deck. I have no clue what kind of stuff I can use.
It's a mystery to us all. But with that, I'm going to move to my end step, and I'm going to put a counter on my Fleshcrafter, which is actually your Warden of the Grove.
Yep.
And I'm going to pass.
I'll untap and draw. And wouldn't you guess it, I'm stuck on lands. Again. But I'm going to pay 2 to cast Piercing Exhale. I won't be paying its additional casting cost because I don't have a dragon to behold.
You will not be beholding a dragon?
Target creature I control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. And if a dragon was beheld, which it wasn't, I would have gotten to Surveil too.
Okay.
So I'm going to have Attuned Hunter deal 4 damage to your Warden of the Grove.
This is a bad day for Warden of the Grove.
Yeah.
He just keeps getting murdered. Even copies of him get murdered.
And I'm going to pay 2 to cast Alchemist's Assistant, the lifelink monkey.
Monkey. I mean, we're already seeing how much of a difference all of the removal you added has been.
Yeah.
You've dealt with my Sage of the Skies, which has been a menace our entire series, and me being able to make a copy of your best creature, or one of your best creatures. I'm at 12 life, you're still at 20, so you're doing excellent with this extra removal package.
And I will be moving to combat.
Yep.
And I'll just repeat the same attacks. And on attack, you will lose a life.
All right, I go from 12 right down to 11. And unfortunately, I kind of just have to run my blocks back. I block your Delta Bloodflies with my High Spire Bellringer, and I take 4, going from 11 down to 7.
All right, I will pass.
You know, for somebody stuck on lands, you sure are doing a lot.
I think I finally am locked in. I think it's happened.
She's starting to believe.
Took a nap between rounds and...
Yeah, now you're feeling better. You come back energized. You're
Yeah.
ready to go. I'm going to cast Equilibrium Adept, and when it enters, I get to exile the top card of my library, and until the end of my next turn, I can play that card. I got my Magmatic Hellkite, so that's a future thing.
No.
And then I'm going to tap a blue and cast Roiling Dragonstorm. When this enchantment enters, I draw 2 cards and then I discard a card. And whenever a dragon I control enters, what a coincidence, I have one coming soon, I get to return the enchantment to my hand. So I'll draw 2 and discard a card. I'm going to be discarding this mountain.
Wow, you're taking a lesson from me.
I am.
Lands to the graveyard.
I also have not been playing a land for the last few turns. I have one more than you, but I've missed, I think, 2 or maybe 3 land drops. But that's it for now. I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay. I hope I can draw into an answer for that Hellkite. For now, I will untap and draw.
I mean, if you don't find an answer for my Hellkite, you might just find an answer for me. I'm only at 7.
That's true. That is very, very true. I'm going to pay 3 for Sipsig Appraiser. And I'm going to look at the top 2 cards in my library, put one in my hand and the other into my graveyard. I'm going to put Cruel Truths into my graveyard and the other card in my hand.
All right.
I'm going to move to combat and I'm going to just keep doing the same attacks.
I mean, it's working for you, clearly.
Yeah.
So first, I will lose the life, going from 7 down to 6.
Got you on a timer.
You really do, though, because, like, I can't just keep taking the 4. You know what? I'm going to be brave. I'm going to triple block your Attuned Hunter. I feel like I need to get that 4/4 off the board.
Okay, order the blockers.
Who do you want to kill?
I'm going to kill your Bellringer.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. You got the flyer out of the way and my cost reducer.
Yeah.
So my Bellringer will die, your Attuned Hunter will die, and I'm going to take the one from the Bloodflies, going from 6 down to 5.
And unfortunately, as it currently stands, I have nothing with a counter on it, so you won't be losing the life here, but you don't currently have a flyer.
That's true. You're still pinging
you
me.
You will next turn. All right, with that, I will pass.
Okay, I'm going to untap. I'm going to draw. And, you know, to nobody's surprise, I am going to cast the Magmatic Hellkite. And when it enters, I get to destroy target non-basic land and opponent controls. I'll destroy your tri-land.
Yep, my Opulent Palace. Oh, that hurts so bad.
But you get to go get any basic land of your choice. It will just enter tapped with a stun counter on it.
All right, can you guess what I'm gonna get?
Place your guesses in the comments down below.
Do, 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 do,
Put the Jeopardy music over this.
And I'm gonna grab an island.
If you guessed an island, you are the winner.
And I will put a stun counter on it.
All right, and because I had a dragon enter, I get to return Roiling Dragonstorm back to my hand. And with that, I'm just gonna pass the turn.
Okay, I will untap and remove the stun counter from the island and draw. I'm gonna play a Dismal Backwater as land for turn, and I'm gonna go up to 21 life.
Yeah, you are now above our starting life totals, and I'm at 5.
You have not hit me for anything.
I've not.
I don't think you've gone to combat at all this game.
No, I've never swung at you.
I've been able to just like remove your stuff almost immediately.
Yes, you've been on top of dealing with all of my threats.
It's pretty great. Okay, I think the smart thing for me to do right now is to just pass turn.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Finally, you're not swinging at me. I untap and I will draw. I am going to cast my Jeskai Shrinekeeper. And now I will finally move to combat. I'm gonna swing at you with just my Jeskai Shrinekeeper.
It's a 3/3 in the air?
It is a 3/3 in the air. And when it hits you, I gain a life and I get to draw a card.
All right, I'll let it hit me and I will go from 21 down to 18.
Okay, I get to gain a life going from 5 back up to 6 and I draw a card. And I am gonna play a Windscarred Crag tapped. I gain a life going up to 7.
He's starting to believe.
And I'm just gonna pass.
All right.
Clawing my way back up.
I will untap and draw. I'm gonna start by paying 2 for Dusk Sight. It's an omen, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. So I'm gonna put a +1/+1 counter on my Delta Bloodflies and I will draw a card.
Okay.
This will get shuffled back into my deck. And now I'm gonna play a Thornwood Falls as my land for turn and I'm gonna go back up to 19.
Undoing all of my work.
I'm going to move to combat.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna swing with the Alchemist Assistant and the Bloodflies. And on attack, you're going to lose a life.
Yep, you do control a creature with a counter on it. So I'm gonna go immediately down to 6. Insert that meme from Mad Max where it's like, that's bait. Oh man, okay, so you have a 2/1 and a 2/3. One of them's in the air. You almost certainly have something or you wouldn't be making this attack. But I feel like I need to get the card out of your hand. And I'm at 6, so I can't really be taking 4 just willy-nilly. Okay, I'm gonna do the safe middle play. I'm going to block your Alchemist Assistant with my Mardu Devotee, and I'm gonna declare no blocks on your Bloodflies.
All right, I can live with that.
Okay.
So our creatures will trade here.
Yep, we trade here, and I am taking 2, going from 6 down to 4.
And because of the lifelink, I'm gonna go back up to 21.
It really is like I never even hit you at all.
Yeah, all right. Main phase 2. I'm going to pay 2 to renew my Alchemist Assistant. I'm gonna exile it from my graveyard and I'm gonna put a lifelink counter on my Delta Bloodflies.
You're really amping up that Bloodfly. I know your insect loyalty is strong, but like, man.
With that, I'm gonna pass the turn.
Okay, I will untap. I will draw. I'm going to cast Devoted Duelist, my little 2/1 with haste. And then I'm going to tap 1 to cast Dragonfire Blade. It's an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has hexproof from monocolored. Equip 4, but the ability costs 1 less to activate for each color of that creature it targets. And because it's my second spell I cast this turn, my Devoted Duelist will deal 1 damage to you.
I go down to 20.
And my Equilibrium Adept will gain double strike until end of turn. And you know, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pay 1 to equip my Dragonfire Blade to my Jeskai Shrinekeeper, turning it into a 5/5 with hexproof from monocolored. And finally, I'm gonna move to combat. And I'm gonna attack you with my 5/5 in the air.
All right, I will take 5, going down to 15.
Sweet. And I will gain a life going from 4 back up to 5, and I get to draw a card. And I'm gonna play an island as my land for turn. And I'm just going to pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'm gonna play an island as my land for turn. And I'm gonna pay 3 for a Champion of Doosan.
Okay.
We have the 4/2 Trampler. And I'm gonna move to combat, and I'm gonna swing at you with the Bloodflies.
And on swing, I'm gonna lose a life going from 5 down to 4. And do I take the 2 and go to 2? I'm gonna say no. This time I am going to take the bait, and I'm going to block with my Magmatic Hellkite.
Okay. effects.
You have priority.
And you have cards in hand and untapped mana.
I do, and I am in blue. 2 blue is untapped.
Well, that means nothing to me. I'm going to pay 2 to cast Alatia's Legacy. Target creature you control gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn.
Yes, that's, I think that's gonna work. I don't have a counter or anything like that. My Hellkite will die from the Death Touch, and you will keep your insects because it's indestructible.
And I will gain 2 life.
Yes.
So I go back up to 17.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
All right. See, I knew she had something. She was being very suspicious that last turn, but I'm only have 4, so I can only take it so many times. At the end of your turn, though, I'm going to tap 3 and cast Seize Opportunity. It's an instant, choose one, exile the top 2 cards of your library, and until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards, or up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+1 until end of turn. I'm going to exile the top 2 cards of my library. So let's see. I'm going to exile Stormshriek Feral and the Twin Maw Stormbrood. And then I will go to my turn. I will untap and draw. You made a really smart move putting all of your eggs into the Bloodflies, because the removal spell that you've seen throughout the course of our entire series doesn't hit flyers. It only deals 5 damage to target creature without flying. So I can't actually remove your Bloodflies. And if you had put the counter on something else and put lifelink somewhere else, I'd be able to remove it right now.
That's incredible.
So yeah, that's a very good move. What am I going to do?
I don't know. Die? I'm sorry.
Die in real life?
What you don't realize is that I have a gun.
I think I want to see more cards, so I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my 5/5.
Yeah, I will go down to 12.
Okay, I will gain a life, going back up to 5, and I will draw a card. Okay, not helpful. It was a land. I'm going to tap 2, and I'm going to cast Flush Out. The Omen side of Stormshriek Feral. I get to discard a card, and if I do, I draw 2 cards. So I'm going to discard the Mystic Monastery. That's the land I just drew, and I will be drawing 2 cards. And this will get shuffled back in.
Now that's value.
That is shuffled, and I'll play a Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon as my land for turn. And then I'm just going to cast the Twin Maw Stormbrood, the actual dragon side. It's a 5/4 flyer. When it enters, I gain 5 life. So I go from 5 back up to 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot of life. And because it's my second spell I've cast, my Devoted Duelist will deal 1 damage to you.
And I go to 11.
And I'm going to pass the turn.
All right, I'll untap and draw. I'm gonna pay 4 to cast Laced Prowler. When it enters, I'm going to mill the cards.
Okay.
Equal to the number of lands. So I'm gonna be milling 7 cards, and let's hope I got something in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the awesome thing is that 5 of those were lands.
Yeah, you just got a lot of lands out of the way. The Lion Weight would have been good. It's a nice removal spell for you, but no, I mean, that seems like a really solid group that you just got rid of.
Especially because if I can get Laced Prowler into my graveyard, I can use its renew to put X +1/+1 counters on a target creature where X is the number of land cards in my graveyard.
And you just hit a huge pocket of lands. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play a Thornwood Falls as land for turn, going up to 12. And I'm empty-handed. I'm gonna move to combat.
Yep.
I'm gonna swing at you with the Champion of Doosan.
You know what? I'm gonna declare no blocks. I'm gonna go to 6.
And with that, I will pass.
And I will untap and draw. I'm going to cast Winter Night Stories to draw 3 cards and then discard 2 unless I discard a creature card. And I'm gonna discard 2 lands.
Seems to be the theme of this episode.
Yeah, a lot of lands in the graveyard. Okay, I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my Jeskai Shrinekeeper again. Attacking you for 5.
I'm gonna go down to 7.
I'm going to gain a life going up to 7, and I will draw a card. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to cast the Roiling Dragonstorm to draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Draw 2, and discard this Plains. And because it's my second spell, Devoted Duelist will do 1 damage to you.
I go down to 6.
I'm just gonna pass the turn.
How many cards do you have in hand?
I have 6.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I'll let everybody else guess how many of those are lands.
6. I'll untap and draw, and I'll play a Jungle Hollow as land for turn. And I'll go up to 7, but why? It's fine.
We both
You know
hit a
what?
nice pocket of land.
Seriously, tell me about it. I'm gonna move to combat, and I'm gonna swing at you with the Laced Prowler and the Champion of Doosan.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm at 7, so I can't keep taking damage. But Renew is really good because it makes it so, like...
I want them in the graveyard.
Right. I don't want to trade because then you can pump something.
I can pump up the jam.
You can pump the jams, pump it up, while the beat is stomping. But I also can't take 5 right now. Okay, yeah. I'm going to block your Laced Prowler with my Twin Maw Stormbrood, and I'm going to block your Champion of Doosan with my Equilibrium Agent.
Okay, so trades all across?
Everything will trade.
All right, and no damage gets through.
No, because I had 4 toughness with the, yeah.
Okay, main phase 2?
Are you going to be doing a lot of renewing?
Maybe just a little bit, like as a treat. The question is, do I want to put all of my eggs in one basket?
Into your little insect basket?
Yeah, especially when like I've already gone through combat. Do I wait and see what happens until I get to my main phase, or do I build up what can possibly be just like a really good blocker? I feel like I at least need to do that part.
I think that's reasonable.
So I'm gonna pay 2 for the Laced Prowler's renew cost.
Okay.
I'm going to exile it from my graveyard, and I'm going to put X +1/+1 counters on target creature where X is the number of land cards in my graveyard. And boy, do I have a lot. Let's pick up this stack and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you for that one. I'm going to be putting 6 +1/+1 counters on my Delta Bloodflies.
That's a big Bloodfly. A very big Bloodfly. So it has 7 +1/+1 counters and lifelink?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's pretty good blocker now, if it stays on the board. And with that, I'm going to pass my turn.
I'm going to untap.
Empty-handed, notably.
And I am the opposite of empty-handed, but I would draw. So here's the thing. You sort of have a removal spell. The problem is, it doesn't hit flyers.
There's no way. Did you just draw it? Or have you had it?
Just drew it.
You just drew it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But, so I can kill your guy on the ground, but I can't deal with the flyer.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, you know I have it, so I'm going to cast it. I'm going to Charring Bite to kill your Sipsig Appraiser.
All right.
And then this will get shuffled back in. One of your favorite cards, I know.
What, you've cast it like 4 times this game?
I think this is my 3rd time, yeah. Because I have 2 in the deck, and then I was able to dig into one. Oh, but I did cast the Dragon, which you just killed last turn. Okay, that got shuffled in. And then I am going to cast Sage of the Skies.
Oh, come on.
Since I've cast another spell this turn, I get to make a copy of it. And my Devoted Duelist will deal 1 damage to you.
I go to 6.
I can't swing into your guy, and it would just gain you life, so I'm just gonna pass.
All right, let's heart of the cards, untap and draw. Okay, I'm gonna start by paying 2 to cast Dark Sight. I'm gonna put a +1/+1 counter on my Bloodflies, and I'm gonna draw a card. Shuffle this back in. The decks are so thin right now.
I mean, you've milled a lot of cards.
I have.
And I've drawn a lot of cards. Drawn a lot of lands. A lot of land cards.
I'm going to pay 2 for an Einok Wayfarer. It's a 1/1 with when this creature enters, mill 3 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. I'm going to mill to 3 cards.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can get another Renew in here. It was the Death Forger that I just cast. We have the Naga Fleshcrafter.
Okay.
We have Renew and another removal spell. And I didn't mill a land card, so since I won't be putting anything into my hand, this gets a +1/+1 counter.
Okay. You got a little tutu.
I'm going to take a look at what I have in Renew. I have 2 cards that I can use, but I don't know what they do. I know what one of them does, but...
I know you have the trample guy.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to pay 2 to use Champion of Doosan's Renew. I'm going to exile it, put a +1/+1 counter and a trample counter on target creature. Can you guess what I'm going to put it on? So my Bloodflies are going to go up and get a trample counter, which I don't think we have one.
You have the little one you drew earlier.
Oh, yeah, the little angry face.
I mean, That Bloodfly is strapped.
Yeah. And what is he right now? He's a 10-11 lifelink trample.
He certainly is, yes.
All right, I'll move to combat. I'm gonna swing at you with the 10-11 Bloodflies.
Well, on the attack, I immediately lose a life, going from 7 to 6. And for blocks, I'm going to block with both of my Sage of the Skies. So currently, they soak up 6 of it. I take 4, but I gain 4. So effectively, my life total stays the same, and then you're about to gain 10 life.
Yeah, I'm going to go up to 16.
All right, and both of my guys die.
All right, I feel pretty comfortable with that, leaving myself open to your other flyer since I've now gained double what it would do to me, unless you can pump it anymore. So I am going to pass.
I'm going to untap and draw. I'm going to play a land. I'm going to cast my Stormstreak Feral. It's a 3/3 with flying and haste and fire breathing. I can pay 1 in red, and this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
I didn't know that was called fire breathing.
Yeah, paying mana into an ability to pump the power of a creature is called fire breathing. It was because back in the day, dragons had that ability.
That's cool.
And I've just had this in hand to keep it in case of flurry, so I'm just going to cast my Mardu Devotee. When it enters, I scry 2. Oh, finally. Non-lands.
Oh.
I'm going to leave those both on top.
All right.
And because it's my second spell, Devoted Duelist will deal like 1 damage to you.
I go to 15.
I have to pass, because otherwise I will die.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna untap and draw. I'm gonna play an island as land for turn.
Very nice.
Listen, I don't try to do the whole like, I'm holding this in my hand to bluff. I'm just getting it out so I don't have to think about it.
I respect that.
All right, and I'm going to pay 3 for the Naga Fleshcrafter's Renew. I'm going to exile it from my graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on the Delta Bloodflies, and each other creature I control becomes a copy of the Bloodflies until end of turn. So my Bloodflies are now an 11/12.
Yep.
Flying Trample Lifelink.
Yep.
And then my Einok Wayfarer is a flying 2/3.
Yep.
How much I have put into...
You've put so much energy into your insect. Your devotion is honestly something to be admired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to combat.
Sure.
I will swing with both, and on attack, you're going to lose 2 life.
Yep. I go from 6 down to 4. Will I have to double block your Delta Bloodflies?
Which one?
So, you're right. My apologies. I will double block the real Delta Bloodflies. And then I soak up 8 damage. 3 gets through, and I take 2 from the copy, and I die.
Wait, that was it?
Yeah, that's it. Like, I can't do anything else. I'm sitting on spells that either don't do anything or lands. And that's it. Like, I'm out.
I'm kind of in shock right now.
You killed me with a massive insect.
Yeah, I've had this out the entire game.
Mm-hmm. And you've just been building them up, building them up, building them up. The trample really messed up a lot of what I was planning on doing, because I was like, oh, I can put out these like little flyers and like, you know, keep myself alive. But
I also got insanely lucky off of that mill and hitting a pocket of 5 lands. I mean, I kept drawing them anyways, but good game.
Yeah, great game. All right.
Game 2.
Let's do it.
And I think for the first time this whole episode, I will not be going first.
Yeah, I'm finally on the play. I will play the Mystic Monastery tapped, and I will pass the turn.
I will draw. I'll play a Jungle Hollow tapped, going to 21 and pass.
Okay, I will untap. I'll draw. I'm going to play a Tranquil Cove tapped, gaining a life, also going to 21, and then I will pass.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play an island, and I'm going to pay 2 for a Sultai Devotee.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
Long time no see. I missed him.
Devotee?
I'm going to play a mountain. And I'm going to play my High Spire Bellringer. And I'm going to pass the turn over to you. Look at this speed magic we're doing right now.
Oh!
And you're throwing it on the floor.
Happy birthday to the floor. I will play a forest, and I'm going to pay 3 for the Sipsig Appraiser.
Nice.
I'm going to look at the top 2 cards And wouldn't you guess it, Thornwood Falls is going to go into my graveyard.
It begins.
I'll move to combat and I will swing at you with the Devotee.
I take 2, going from 21 down to 19.
And I'll pass.
I untap. I will draw. I'll play the Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. I'm going to cast Roiling Dragonstorm. When it enters, I'm going to draw 2 cards and discard a card.
Look at us doing the early game card draw.
Yeah, we're playing very responsibly, you might say. Yeah.
Play responsibly.
Please, play responsibly. I'm going to discard my Seize Opportunity. And because of the cost reduction on Highspire Bellringer, I'm going to cast Sage of the Skies.
Come on.
I get a copy of them. And I'm going to pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw and be filled with hate.
Hate for my Sage.
Yeah. I'm going to play a Jungle Hollow tapped going up to 22. And I'm going to pay 3 to cast Dragon's Prey, destroying your Sage.
All right, Sage is no more.
Now I'll move to combat and I will swing at you with my Devotee.
I will take 2, going from 19 down to 17.
And I'll pass.
I untap and I draw. I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with both of my flyers, a 1/4 flyer and a 2/3 flying lifelink.
I'll go down to 19.
And I will gain 2, going from 17 up to 19. And then I'm going to tap 3 for my Poised Practitioner.
Hate that card.
And then I'll play a mountain as my land for turn. And last but certainly not least, I will tap my mountain to cast Charring Bite to kill your Soul Tide Devotee. Since it's my second spell cast, my Poised Practitioner is going to get a +1/+1 counter. And I'm going to scry 1. I'm just going to skip that because this is going to get shuffled in, so my scry would go away anyways. Because that's how that works.
That's fun.
Yeah. Because this happens on the cast this spell and the shuffle happens on the resolution, so it doesn't matter how I scry, it will get shuffled away. But that's my shuffle, and I am going to pass the turn.
Okay, I'll untap and draw. I'm going to play a Swamp as my land for turn. All right, I'm going to pay 2 to cast Petty Revenge. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less, and I'm going to destroy your Practitioner.
My Practitioner will die, killing it before it gets out of hand.
This will get shuffled back in. All right, I'm going to pay 2 to cast Dusk Sight. I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on the Appraiser, and I'm going to draw a card.
It's been a lot of omens this
I know.
rotation.
Now I'm going to move to combat, and I am going to swing at you with my Appraiser.
And I'll take 3, going from 19 down to 16.
And I'll pass.
Okay, I'll untap and draw. And I'm going to cast Jeskai Shrinekeeper, special border one.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. With the foil too, it's like, oh man. But I'm gonna move to combat. And I'm gonna attack you with all 3 of my flyers. So it's 6. 6 in the air.
I go down to 13.
And I gain 2, going from 16 back up to 18. And then I will gain a life, going up to 19, and I will draw a card. And I actually forgot, because I had a dragon enter, my Roiling Dragonstorm goes back into my hand. And I'm just gonna pass the turn over to you.
Okay. Untap and draw. I'm gonna play a Swamp as my land for turn. Okay. I'm gonna pay 4 to cast Naga Fleshcrafter, and I'm gonna have it enter as a copy of your Shrinekeeper.
You just like my Shrinekeeper so much.
I know.
You need to have your own.
And I'm gonna pay 2 to cast Piercing Exhale, and I'm gonna behold a dragon, because technically I have a dragon. Target creature I control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. If a dragon was behold, surveil 2. So I'm actually gonna have this do 3 damage to yours.
Wow, so you copy my dragon, and then you use your copy of my dragon to kill my dragon.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you did almost the exact same move, not same cards, but almost exact same move to me with my Warden of the Grove a couple games ago.
You might be right.
You copied it. Flashback, black and white flashback. You copied it. And then you destroyed my own.
I think you're right. I think I copied it, then I used the deal 5, and I just killed it. So that's fair. This is sweet revenge for you.
Yeah.
And you get to surveil too?
I do. Well, adding to our counter, I'm going to pitch 2 lands.
2 lands into the graveyard.
I'm going to move to combat, and I will swing at you with both my creatures.
I'm going to take 6, going from 19 down to 13.
And on damage, I'm going to gain a life and draw a card.
Yep.
I go up to 14, and I draw.
Yeah, card feels really good.
Yeah, that's nice. And I'll pass.
Okay. I untap, and I draw. I'm going to cast my second Poised Practitioner. Then I'm going to tap a blue for my Roiling Dragonstorm. Because it's my second spell cast, my Poised Practitioner is going to get a counter, and I will scry 1. I'm going to put this on the bottom. And then, when this enters, I'm going to draw 2 cards and discard a card. And I'm going to discard my Seize Opportunity. I am actually going to go to combat, and I'm going to swing at you with my 2/3 Flying Lifelink.
All right, I go to 12.
And I go back up to 15, and then I'm going to pass.
Okay, I'll untap and draw. All right, I'm going to try to do something a little fun here. Fun for myself.
At least it's fun for one of us.
Yes, I'm going to pay 1 for Desperate Measures. Target creature gets +1/-1 until end of turn. When it dies under your control this turn, draw 2 cards. So I'm going to target my Appraiser. So now this is a 4/1.
Yes.
I'm going to move to combat.
Okay.
And I'm going to swing at you with both.
So you have a 4/1 and a 3/3. I feel like you have something, but I definitely don't want to be hit by the Shrine Keeper if I can avoid it. So I'm just going to block your Shrine Keeper with my High Spire Bellringer, and I'm going to declare no blocks on the Sig.
Okay, so nothing happens between these two.
Right.
But you will take 4.
Yes, and I go from 15 down to 11.
Okay, second main. I'm going to pay 1 for Worthy Cost. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. I'm going to sacrifice my Appraiser. Exile target creature or Planeswalker. I'm going to exile your Practitioner.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And once my Appraiser dies, I get to draw 2 cards because of Desperate Measures.
That's pretty cheeky. I like that.
I said I was going to have fun.
Yeah, that's very cheeky.
I'm going to pay 3 to cast Sage of the Fang. It's a 2/2 human druid. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and it has renew 3 and a green, exile this card from your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature. If only I had my Warden of the Grove out.
I know, but I know he's in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the +1/+1 counter on my Shrine Keeper.
Okay. Yeah, it's a 4/4 now.
And now I'm gonna pass my turn.
All right, I untap, and I will draw, play a land for turn. I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with both my flyers, so 3 in the air.
Okay, I'll go down to 9.
Okay, I gain 2, going up to 13. And you know what? I am going to tap a blue, and I'm going to cast Ringing Strike Mastery to tap down your Shrine Keeper. It won't untap during untap step, and then you can pay 5 to untap it.
In response,
No!
I'm gonna pay
No!
green for Snakeskin Veil.
Of course.
And I'm gonna put a +1/+1 counter on my Fleshcrafter, or my Shrine Keeper, I suppose, and it'll gain hexproof until end of turn.
It certainly will. This will fizzle, and it is now a 5/5. That is a big ouch. Okay, well, I will tap 1 for my Mardu Devotee. I'm going to scry 2, put these back on top like this, and I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay. Whew, that Snakeskin Veil is really good.
1 mana for hexproof and putting a counter on a thing is very good.
Really good. Okay, I'm gonna pay 3 to cast Yathan Tombguard. It's a 2/3 human warrior with menace, and whenever a creature I control with a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose a life, which means I won't be losing or gaining any life if I hit you with this, and I'll be drawing 2 cards.
That's really cool. Okay, yeah.
That's so good. Oh, that's so good. And I'm gonna move to combat.
Sure.
And I will swing at you with the Fleshcrafter and the Sage.
So you're currently swinging at me for 7?
Yes.
I'm going to declare no blocks. I'm going to take 7, going from 13 down to 6.
Okay, and on combat damage, I would gain a life, but also lose a life and draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's so ridiculous.
And it's really cool because since the Tomb Guard is black and my Shrine Keeper is Jeskai, there's like almost no world where you would run those 2 cards together because you just wouldn't be able to get the mana to work. But because you had the clone, you're able to do this interaction that I feel like is going to be really rare. I think that's just so neat.
It's so funny seeing, like, only in this situation would that happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is such a rare and unique moment that, yeah, I'm glad I was a part of it.
It was too. All right, second main.
Yeah.
I'm going to play Swamp as my land for turn. I'm going to pay 2 for Einok Wayfarer. When it enters, mill 3 cards, and I may put a land from among them into my hand. If I don't, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. So Essence Anchor, Swamp, and Alicia's Legacy. So I'm not going to put the Swamp into my hand so that I can get that counter.
It is a May for a reason.
Okay, I think that's going to be it for my turn. I'll pass.
All right, I'm going to untap and draw. The thing is, you know how I scryed last turn?
Uh-huh.
Well, I scryed on top a nice removal spell for your Shrine Keeper, but you got it out of range by putting 1 more counter on it.
Are you serious?
Yep. So, so I'm going to cast Twin Moss Storm Brood. It's a 5/4 flying dragon. Enters, I'm going to gain 5 life, going from 6 back up to 11. And because I had a dragon enter, both of my Roiling Dragonstorms are going to go back to my hand. We're neck and neck right now. But I am going to move to combat and attack you with my Sage of the Skies.
All right, I will go down to 7.
And I will gain 2, going back up to 13. And I pass.
All right, at the end of your turn, I'm going to pay 2 to cast Auroral Procession, and I'm going to return Worthy Cost to my hand.
Yeah, that was the end of my turn, so it's your turn now.
All right, I'll untap and draw. I'm going to start by paying a single black for Worthy Cost.
Sure.
And I'm going to sacrifice my Sage of the Fang.
Okay.
And I will exile your Storm Brood.
Okay, definitely saw that coming.
And then I'm going to pay 4 for the Sage's Renew. I'm going to exile it from my graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature. I'm going to put the +1/+1 on the Tomb Guard, and then it's going to get doubled. So now it's a 4/5.
4/5 menace. That when it hits, you lose a life and you get to draw a card.
Okay, I'm going to move to combat, and I'm going to swing at you with my Flyer and my Menace.
Yep, so currently you're swinging at me for 5, 9.
Yes.
I'm going to block your Flyer with my Flyer, and I'm going to take the 4.
And on hit, I'm going to lose a life and draw a card.
Okay.
Going down to 6.
And I go from 13 down to 9, and my Flyer will die.
All right, and with that, I'm going to pass.
Okay. I untap, and I will draw, and finally, I'm going to cast Elspeth, Stormslayer. She's a legendary Planeswalker Elspeth with 5 loyalty. If 1 or more tokens would be created under my control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. I can +1 to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, which is actually 2. I can 0 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control, and those creatures gain flying until end of turn. And I can pay -3 to destroy target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater.
Whew.
So she'll come in with 5 loyalty. And let's see, you're at 6? I can swing for 5 in the air. Doesn't quite kill you. So I'm gonna -3 her, putting her to 2 to destroy your Shrine Keeper. If I can't have it, no one can.
It will die. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to make it hexproof this time.
Oh my, if you did,
or
if you had the thing that like gives it indestructible, that'd be crazy. Let's see. No matter what, because of Menace, if you want to kill Elspeth, you can. So I'm gonna attack you with my 2/3 Flyer.
Okay, I will take 2, going to 4.
And I will gain 2, going up to 11. And I'm gonna pass the turn.
Okay. I'll untap and draw. I'm going to play an island as my land for turn. I'm going to start by paying 3 for Stalwart Successor. It's a 3/2 human warrior with Menace. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on a creature you control, if it's the first time counters have been put on that creature this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to pay 3 for the Naga Fleshcrafter's Renew. I'm going to exile this card from my graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target non-legendary creature I control. Each other creature I control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn.
Okay.
I'm going to put the +1/+1 counter on the Stalwart Successor. And because it's the first time that it's getting a counter this turn, it's going to get an additional +1/+1 counter. And both of these are now going to be copies of the Stalwart Successor. So all I was trying to do with that was make it so that if this hits you, I will not be losing any life. Unfortunately, I won't be drawing a card, but that's fine. And now this one will have Menace too.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to combat. I'm gonna swing the Wayfarer at Elspeth and then the Tomb Guard at you.
Okay, I can't block either of them. They both have menace, so Elspeth will die. I'll take 5, going from 11 down to 6.
Okay, I think I'll pass.
Okay, I untap, and I will draw. I'm gonna cast Roiling Dragonstorm. I'm gonna draw 2 cards and then discard a card. I'll discard my Evolving Wilds. That was 2 lands that I just drew.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But it makes sense because I haven't drawn lands in a little bit. So I'm gonna tap 2 for the card I hinted at earlier. Molten Exhale. It deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. I'm gonna deal 4 to your Stalwart successor.
Okay, it will die.
I'm gonna tap 2 for another Roiling Dragonstorm. I'm gonna draw 2 and discard a card.
You're really digging.
Yes, yes I am. I'm very scared of the Menace guy because he almost just kills me. I'm gonna discard Windscarred Crag. And then I'm gonna play a land for turn.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna tap it to cast Mardu Devotee. When it enters, I'm gonna scry 2. I'll put this on top and this one on the bottom.
The bottom one's a land.
It certainly is. I'm gonna move to combat. I'm gonna attack you with a 2/3 in the air.
I will take 2, going down to 2.
And I will gain 2, going up to 8.
Oh, okay.
And with that, I pass.
All right.
2 cards in hand.
I'm gonna untap and draw. Okay, I'm gonna play Forest as land for turn. And I'm going to pay 3 for Lie in Wait. Return target creature card from my graveyard to my hand. Lie in Wait deals damage equal to that card's power to target creature.
Okay.
I'm gonna return Stalwart Successor to my hand, and I'm gonna do 3 damage to your flyer.
My flyer will die.
And I'm going to pay 3 to recast the Successor.
Okay.
Okay, I think the smart thing for me is just to pass.
I will untap and I will draw. It did end up being good that you didn't swing. The card that I left on top was this card, Durgar Island Dragon. I'm gonna cast the dragon side. It's a 4/4 flying with ward 2, but it had the omen where I could have tapped down one of your creatures and drawn a card. So if you had swung with anything, I would have been able to tap down the other one and get in. And because the dragon entered, both of these Dragonstorms will go back to my hand. And with that, I'm gonna pass the turn.
Okay, let's hope that I can draw into literally anything. Untap and draw. I'm gonna pay 2 for Delta Bloodflies. 1/2 flyer.
It keeps you alive.
It does. It does. And then I'm going to pay 4 for a 100 Battle Veteran. It is a 4/2, and as long as there are 3 or more different kinds of counters among creatures I control, this creature gets +2/+4, and I can cast this card from my graveyard. If I do, it enters with a finality counter on it.
Okay.
I only have 1 type of counter on right now.
Just +1/+1.
Yeah. I think now is the time that I swing. I'm gonna swing at you with both of my menace creatures. A 3/2 and a 4/5.
I'm going to double block your Stalwart with my 2 Mardu Devotees and take the 4.
Okay.
I take 4 going from 8 down to 4, and one of my Devotees will die. Would you like to choose which one?
This one.
All right.
All right, and my Stalwart Successor will die again. And on combat damage, I will draw a card and lose a life, going to 1.
Very dangerous.
Okay, second main.
Okay.
I'm gonna pay 3 for Aggressive Negotiations. Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Let me see your hand.
Here we go.
All right, of course, the two Dragonstorms. But I don't want you to like draw into things, but then drawing into things. Actually, I have to exile this. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna put the +1/+1 counter on the Tomb Guard. If I get combat damage in with anything with a counter on it, it's gonna kill me. So I'm just gonna consolidate that.
That makes a lot of sense actually, because you need to kill me with the combat damage so that you won't die immediately after.
What would happen?
The combat damage happens first and then the trigger goes on the stack, but you've won before it resolves.
Okay, so I could...
You could kill me with it, yes.
Okay, interesting. With that, I will pass.
Okay, I untap and I draw. Okay, I'm gonna tap 2 for a Roiling Dragonstorm. I'm gonna draw 2 cards and discard a card. Discard a land. And then I'm gonna play a land for turn, and I'm gonna tap 2 for a Roiling Dragonstorm. I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to discard a land.
Oh my god.
I have to pass.
You have to pass.
Yes. I can't kill you.
Oh. Oh. You're at 4?
I'm at 4.
Oh. I live to see another turn. All right. We'll untap and draw. And it's a Thornwood Falls, so I'm going to go up to 2.
Nice.
I'll go to combat. I'm going to swing out.
Well, on swing, the Bloodflies will trigger. I will lose a life, going to 3.
This has Menace. And then it's 2, 3, 7. Oh no, he's looking at his hand and he's a blue. Did I just screw myself by swinging out? Was it my hubris?
Well, I'm dead. You got it.
Oh my god, I actually won a round.
Yeah, I mean, my last hope was that the Dragonstorms, and you may have noticed I discarded 2 lands. I played a land, and I have lands in hand.
You only have lands in hand?
Yep. So, yeah, that'll do it.
Oh my god. Good game.
Good game.
I cannot believe I was hanging on by a literal thread.
So you ended the game at 2 life. You had 1 life for quite a few turns. And there were several turns in a row where I just needed you to swing with a little bit more. And you didn't. So
I've never been happier to draw a tap land of all things. Oh my gosh. I actually took a round. We did it.
I'm proud of you. I did it. Yeah.
Next up, we're both going to be opening another collector booster, and since I won, I get to open an additional play booster. Finally! This next round is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be choosing a legendary creature from our opens to pick as a commander. Our decks are going to go to 60 cards singleton. We'll only be playing best of 1.
Yep.
And our life totals go up to 30.
I'm really excited. We're going to be shifting from more of a limited environment to a little bit more of a, like, commander, like almost commander environment.
Light?
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see how these decks develop. Also, in the last round, when I opened my extra packs, there was a lot of Sultai stuff, so there's going to be a lot more gas over there, and unfortunately, I didn't really open any good Jeskai cards, so hopefully this next pack is very generous to me.
As a side note, neither of us have opened a Sultai or a Jeskai commander for our decks yet, so our decks might look really different this next round.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on what we open. I'm hoping that in our collector packs, we open our legendary creatures, but we will see.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Heart of the cards.
And after a very grueling upgrade process, this is what we've ended up with. You might have noticed, I am not in Jeskai anymore. I am doing Mardu. Well, I was not lucky enough to open my commander, so instead I'm going to be running Zurgo, Thunder's Decree. Luckily, I actually opened that in my pre-release kit, so I had this nice backup plan. Even though I'm not playing Jeskai like I wanted, I am excited because this was one of the other cons that I was like really considering when we started this whole thing, and so being able to play it out, I think is going to be fun no matter what. That's kind of it. Like, my upgrades really are just Jeskai to Mardu. So let's see how this goes and how it plays against what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how your deck has pivoted just to a totally different clan. With all the different cards that we've opened throughout this episode, I'm really excited to see how easy is it to like switch from one archetype to a totally different one. So I'm excited. For myself, I'm still sticking with Sultai. I got incredibly lucky to open my commander, Kotis the Fangkeeper. He doesn't entirely do the thing that I want him to do, or rather what my deck wants to do, but I think we'll still have a little bit of fun with him, especially if I get to steal some of your things.
But the most important thing, honestly, is that he's in your colors, so you're actually able to play the Sultai deck that you've been running this entire time and you've come to know and love. Mm-hmm. And as a reminder, this time around, we have a starting life total of 30, and it's best of 1. As the resident loser, I get to go first. So let's get started.
I made a mistake in doing that.
What?
I have to fix the orientation of all my cards.
It was cool, though, and that's what matters.
It was good for the bit, but...
I'm going to play Evolving Wilds, and I'm going to crack it to go get a swamp, and I'm going to pass the turn.
All right. I'll draw, and I'm going to play a swamp and pass.
Okay, and I will untap and draw. I'll play a mountain, and I'm gonna play Shock Brigade. It's a 2-mana 1/3 Goblin Soldier with Menace and Mobilize 1. When this creature attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token, and I sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And I'm gonna pass the turn.
Okay, I'll draw. I'm gonna play a forest, and I'll pay 2 for an Einok Wayfarer. When it enters, I'm gonna mill 3 cards, and I may put a land card from among them into my hand. If I don't, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on this creature.
Okay.
Island, worthy cost, and aggressive negotiations. I am gonna put that island into my hand.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
All right, I will untap and draw. I'm going to move to combat. I'm gonna attack you with my Shock Brigade. It's a 1/3 with Menace, and when it attacks, I get to create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature token.
All right, I will take 2, going to 28.
Okay, second main phase. Play a Plains, natural Shaun, and I'm gonna tap 3 to play Zergo, banana, Zergo, banana.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna move to my end step. Normally I'd have to sacrifice this warrior, but Zergo says, during my end step, warrior tokens I control have this token can't be sacrificed.
That's great. That's really good.
Yeah, and then he himself has mobilized too, so I'm gonna be able to just really stock up these little 1/1s.
Oh, this might be a quick game.
But I will pass.
I'm gonna untap and draw. I'm gonna play that island as my land for turn, and I'm going to pay 2 for Petty Revenge, and I'm going to destroy your commander.
No! All right, Zergo will die. I'm actually gonna let Zergo go to my graveyard.
Interesting. Okay.
What can I say? I'm playing Mardu, I'm a changed man. Things go to the graveyard now.
Yeah, what's happening here? Because, like, you're playing aggro, I'm playing a little bit more, like, mid-rangey control.
You're playing blue?
Yeah.
Like...
What? Do we need to switch sides?
Well, we talked about that at the beginning. We might be switching sides at the end.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pass.
Okay, I will untap and draw. I'm gonna play a mountain as my land for turn. I'm gonna play the Devoted Duelist. I'm gonna play a new card. This was actually my pre-release promo. I'm gonna play Voice of Victory. It's a 2-mana 1/3 human bard with Mobilize 2, and my opponents can't cast spells during my turn.
I don't like that. I think while it's on the stack, I'm gonna pay 1 to Snakeskin Veil my Einok, giving it a +1/+1 counter.
Okay.
Okay.
And because it was my second spell cast this turn, the Devoted Duelist will do 1 damage to you.
I go down to 27.
And then I will move to combat. And I'm going to attack you with all of my creatures that can attack. And on attack, my Shock Brigade's Mobilize ability is going to trigger. So I will create a 1/1 red warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking, and it'll get sacrificed on my end step.
Okay.
So I'm currently swinging for 5.
I'm gonna block your warrior that's not getting sacrificed.
Okay.
And I'll take 4.
All right, you take 4.
I go down to 23.
And my warrior that you blocked dies. And then I will move to my end step, and this warrior will also get sacrificed. And that's it. I pass the turn.
Okay, I'll untap and draw. I'm gonna play a swamp as my land for turn. And I'm gonna pay 4 for a new card in my deck, Sagu Pummeler. It's a 4/4 beast with reach and renew 4 and a green. Exile this card from your graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a reach counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery.
Very cool. Okay.
And I'm gonna pass.
Okay, I'm gonna untap and draw. I am going to move to combat. I'm gonna swing with everything again. And when I swing, both the Voice of Victory and the Shock Brigade's Mobilize abilities will trigger. I'll make 3 1/1 red warriors. Boom. And they will be sacrificed on the end step.
Okay. I'm gonna block your Voice of Victory with the Sagu Pummeler and one of your warriors with the Einok. And I'll take 5.
Yep, you take 5.
I go down to 18.
My Voice of Victory will die, as will one of my warriors in that combat. I'll go to my second main phase. I'm gonna play a Plains as my land for turn, and I'm gonna cast Smile at Death. It's a enchantment. At the beginning of my upkeep, I return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield, and I put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. And with that, I'm going to pass the turn, and these will get sacrificed.
Okay, I'll untap and draw. All right, I'm gonna pay 3 to cast Rakshasa's Bargain. I'm gonna look at the top 4 cards in my library, put 2 of them into my hand, and the rest into my graveyard.
Okay.
All right, going into my graveyard is going to be an island and the Stalwart Successor.
Keeping up your policy of always binning a land.
Exactly. Now I'll play a forest as my land for turn. And I'm going to pay 2 for the Delta Bloodflies.
Old Reliable, we call him.
And as tempting as it is to actually get to attack you, I think I need to pass.
Okay, I'm gonna untap, and I get my Smile at Death upkeep trigger. I get to return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from my graveyard to the battlefield, and they both get a +1/+1 counter. So I get both Zurgo and the Voice of Victory back, and both are just a little bit bigger. And then I will draw for turn. And I'm going to move to combat. And I'm going to attack you with both my Shock Brigade and my Devoted Duelist. When my Shock Brigade attacks, I will mobilize 1. Those are my attacks.
Okay. I'm going to block your Duelist with my Pummeler, and I will double block your Shock Brigade with the Bloodflies and the Wayfarer.
Effects?
No.
I'm going to cast Seize Opportunity, choosing to give up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+1 until end of turn. So I'll turn my Shock Brigade into a 3/4 and my Devoted Duelist into a 4/2.
Yep. Yeah.
So the Sagu Pummeler and the Devoted Duelist will trade, and I will choose to kill your Bloodflies over your Einok Wayfarer.
All right.
And I'm going to move to IM step. Zurgo will prevent my warrior from being sacrificed, and I pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'll play a Dismal Backwater as land for turn, going up to 19. I'm going to pay 4 for Fangkeeper's Familiar. It's a 3/3 snake with flash, and when it enters, I choose 1. I'm going to choose to destroy your enchantment.
Ooh, that's really good. I'm going to respond.
You're not in the colors, too.
I'm going to cast Sun Pearl Kieran. It's a 2/1 Kieran with flash flying. When this creature enters, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent I control to its owner's hand. And if it was a token, I draw a card. I'm going to choose to return my Smile at Death to my hand.
Oh my god. I should have just gained 3, surveilled 3. Okay.
We got a 3/3 snake.
Yeah. Which I had to cast on my turn because I can't cast anything on yours.
Yeah, because of my Voice of Victory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to combat.
Okay.
And I'm going to swing with the Wayfarer.
Well, I have excellent blocks for that.
You do.
Which means I'm not going to block. I'm going to take 2.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to go from 30 down to 28.
Okay. I'll pass.
I will untap. You did mess up my plan. My plan was to use the Cure to bounce the word to draw a card. So then I couldn't do that. And I will move to combat. And I'm going to swing with everything.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm running out of room with all of the stuff I'm swinging with.
Oh, wow.
On the attack, I'm going to mobilize 5. Luckily, I have all the warriors I need.
Jeez. It's just like me playing my Cranko deck.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same vibes. And then you're getting attacked with a 3/5, a 2/4, a 1/3 with Menace, a 2/1 with Flying, and then 6 1/1s.
I don't even have a good block. I can't do anything. I suppose I could chump your Voice of Victory and my thing stays alive. So I will do just that.
Okay.
Oh, should I?
Take 12?
Yeah, I'll take 12.
Okay. You take 12 and those 2 bounce off of each other.
Yep, I go to 7.
This has been a very fast game.
Yeah, this is, whew.
And then I'm going to replay my Smile at Death.
Yeah, you are.
I will move to my end step. Again, Zurgo prevents my warriors from being sacked, so I'm going to keep them and pass the turn.
Yep. Oh. Boy, do I hope I draw that, never mind. It's okay.
That board wipe? Is that the word you were looking for?
Yep.
Did you get the board wipe?
No. No, I did not. I am dead. It's even just the fact that I'm like missing land drops. Just to try to search for anything I'm gonna pay for, and I'm gonna cast Cruel Truths. I'm gonna Surveil 2, draw 2, lose 2. I'm gonna die next turn no matter what, unless I can figure out something. These are going in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll draw 2, and I'm gonna go down to 5.
You're digging. Nothing.
Nothing. This is feels bad. Apparently you should have been playing Mardu from the start, as if you hadn't already been demolishing me aside from last round.
Oh yeah, we're 2-1 right now.
Yeah.
Well, you angered the Mardu.
Yeah.
Remember all that time ago when you attacked me and I informed you that all of Tarkir knew you were here? This is them. They have rallied their forces, they have mobilized, and they're here for blood.
Apparently. I'm hurting. Since I have nothing else to do, I'm gonna see if I can, at the very least, draw another land.
All right, fair.
So I'm gonna pay 2 for Dusk Sight. I'm gonna put a +1/+1 counter on my familiar, and I'm gonna draw a card.
All right.
It was not. Since I'm gonna die anyways, let me get a little bit in there so I don't feel as bad.
Sounds good. Swinging for 6.
6.
I go from 28 down to 22.
I couldn't even get you to 1 dice. Is your life? I'll pass.
I will untap.
Look at that big cheesy grin.
On my upkeep, I get to return the Devoted Duelist, and it will get a counter. Importantly, it has haste. I would draw for turn. And I will just put you out of your misery.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to swing with everything.
Yeah.
All of the things attack, and I mobilize 5 again. We ran out of tokens, so this one represents 5 of them. There you go.
So I'm going to take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 damage.
That is correct, yes. 22 damage.
Instant speed, I scoop.
Well, that was a nice fast game.
I never even cast my commander.
You just never had an opportunity to. You were always on the back foot, and you just you never had a spot where you were finally able to get me to not swing at you.
Yeah.
And I was able to play a lot more aggressively than I normally would have because I knew I had the Smile at Death in my hand. That's why I did the very suspicious thing of putting Zurgo into the graveyard, because I knew, oh, he's coming back anyways, and bigger.
Yep, that was, I knew that you had a way to get him back, but I had no idea what it would be or how long it would take for you to get there. Mm-hmm. So that hurt. What really hurt, though, I feel like I was immediately put on the back because of my Wayfarer. Yeah, I got the 3rd color that I needed, but also it got rid of, I think, 2 of my removal spells, at least one of my really good removal spells.
Yeah.
And so that really, really screwed me.
I think ultimately, though, the card that won me the game was the Seize Opportunity, pumping both of my creatures, killing your 4/4, one of your creatures, and still retaining one of mine was huge. Because your 4/4 was the first meaningful blocker that you had, and being able to swat that out of the way was very good.
Yeah.
But so that's the power of Mardu and Zurgo. But what's next for us?
Next up, we're both going to be getting a commander deck, and since I lost, I get first pick. I wonder what I'm going to be picking.
No one knows what a great mystery this is.
Exactly. And we're going to be grabbing at most 10 cards from the Commander deck, with the exception of Soul Ring, no Soul Rings. And we're going to be upgrading our decks for a final time using the Commander cards. I personally am going to be swapping out my Commander to one that I actually want to use. And we'll go head to head in a final round. Best of 1, 30 life, Hero's Journey.
Yeah, this is the big moment. This is the final round. This is the culminating event of the Hero's Journey to determine who is the ultimate winner. I am up on rounds, but the last round is the only round that matters. So we'll be back shortly.
We're here for round 5, and we've laid out our decks in full so we can show you just what we're working with. I swapped out my commander for Taval, the Balance Scale. This is the face commander of the Sultide deck. And even though he doesn't do exactly what I was trying to build for in this deck, he's much better than the previous commander I had, so I think this might actually work out. I ended up swapping out a lot of my lands for the better mana fixing from the commander decks, and I added a few pieces here and there that I think will really push me. I know I said that last time, but push me a little bit farther. I'm really hopeful. Let's hope that I can actually do it. I can make it work.
And for me, I'm bringing Jiska back.
Yeah.
The Zergo boy don't know how to act.
Yeah.
You know that blue is that thing you lack.
Yeah.
Take it to the course. Well, as you can see, I am back to Jeskai, my home. Nothing feels better. As the old saying goes, all roads lead to home. I finally have the commander that I want in Shiko and Narset, and I'm just really excited to have the deck that's sort of the culmination of all of my work with the Jeskai. It was nice having that little break with Mardu for a minute, being able to play that out, but this is what I want.
So now we're going to be playing a best of 1, and our starting life total is 30.
Let's get into it.
Since I got absolutely destroyed last round, I will be going first.
All right.
I'm going to play an Opulent Palace, and I'm going to pass.
All right, I will draw. I'm going to play a Plains, and I'm going to use the Plains to cast a Descendant of Storms. It's a 2/1 human soldier. Whenever this creature attacks, I can pay 1 and a white, and if I do, it endures 1. I'll pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'm going to play a Swamp as my land for turn, and I will pass.
I will untap and draw. Play an Island as my land for turn, and I'm going to move to combat. I'm going to attack you with my Descendant of Storms, and when it attacks, I will pay the 2 to create a 1/1 white spirit creature token.
All right, and I will go down to 28.
And I will pass.
I'm going to play a Forest as my land for turn, and I'm going to pay 3 for Warden of the Grove.
Ooh.
We haven't seen it in a little bit.
But he's back, and just as powerful as ever.
Mm-hmm. And I'll move to my end step, and I'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. And I'll pass.
Okay, I will untap and draw. Play a Plains as my land for turn. I will move to combat.
Mm-hmm.
I will attack you with my Descendant of Storms, and when it attacks, I will pay 2, and it will endure 1. I will choose to put the counter on it.
Smart.
So we'll attack you with a 3/2.
I will go down to 25.
And that's it for me. I'm going to pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'm going to play an Island. It's my land for turn. And I'm going to pay 4 to cast the Naga Fleshcrafter. And I'm going to copy my Warden of the Grove.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was good enough the first time. Might as well run it back.
Yeah. And when it enters, it gets to endure X, where X is the number of counters on this creature, which is just going to be 1. And I'm going to put the counter on it.
Yep.
And then I'm going to move to combat, and I'm going to swing at you with a 3/3.
I will declare no blocks. I will take 3, going from 30 down to 27.
All right. I will move to my end step, and these will both increase their counters. Off to a pretty hefty start. I'll pass.
Okay, I'm going to untap, and I'm going to draw.
I can't wait to see how you remove these.
Oh, I'm going to play a mountain.
The removal color.
And I'm going to play the Charring Bite to kill your real Warden of the Grove.
All right.
And this will get shuffled back in.
I could have seen that coming from a mile away.
At least you're able to copy it first, so you still have one.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, this is still a good start for you. You currently have your 4/4 that's going to grow over turn and put counters on things, and
Yep.
I'm still in a very precarious situation. The sad part is, too, I had the removal spell for it on curve, but I didn't have the mountain.
That's rough.
But I was lucky enough to draw it that turn, because otherwise that would have really got out of hand.
The fact you kept the hand without it.
Well, I was on the draw, so I was like, oh, you know.
That's fair.
And then I will move to combat. I'm going to attack you with the Descendant of Storms, and I will pay the 2 to have it endure, and I'll put the counter on it. So it is a 4/3.
And I will take 4 going to 21.
Okay, and I will pass the turn.
I'll untap and draw. I'm going to play a forest as my land for turn. And I'm going to pay 4 to bring my commander out. This is Taval the Balanced Scale. He's a 4/4 spirit dragon with flying. Whenever Taval attacks, mill 3 cards, then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token.
Very nice.
And it will get to endure.
Oh, yes it will.
Yeah.
Are you going to put the counters on it or make the spirit?
I'm going to make it big.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Taval is now a 6/6.
He certainly is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will move to combat.
Yep.
And I will swing at you with a 4/4.
I'm gonna declare no blocks. I will just take 4, going from 27 down to 23.
I'll move to my end step and I'll add a counter to my Fleshcrafter.
Okay.
And I will pass.
Okay, I will untap. I will draw. I will play Command Tower.
Nice.
I am also gonna play my commander. Shiko and Narset Unified. They're a 4/4 legendary creature human spirit dragon with flying and vigilance. And Flurry, whenever I cast my second spell each turn, I copy that spell if it targets a permanent or player, and I may choose new targets for the copy. And if I don't copy a spell this way, I get to draw a card.
Well, I'm really glad that I endured my commander.
Yes, because otherwise we'd be staring down each other with big 4/4 flyers. But
Yeah.
yours is now bigger.
At least yours has vigilance.
That is true. So I'll be able to swing and still have it on defense, maybe. But for now, I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay. I'm going to untap and draw. I'm going to play an island as my land for turn. I'm going to pay 4 to cast Cruel Truths. I'm going to surveil 2, draw 2, and lose 2.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep both of these on top and then draw them. And then I will lose 2 life going to 19.
Getting you low.
Yeah, you're doing so good. And then I'm going to pay 2 for Dusk Sight. I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on my commander, who's now a 7/7.
It wasn't big enough before, I guess, so.
And I'm going to draw a card. This will go shuffled back in. Who am I?
That's pretty impressive.
I just drew 3 cards.
Yeah, you just
In
drew
a
3 cards in your
single-
turn.
Technically 4 cards,
Yeah, because the 1 per turn.
but I just drew 3 cards aside from that. And like, who am I?
Like I said, seeing her growth is really just touching.
Funnily enough, both of those cards were black.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Cruel Truths is black, and then even the dragon that omen is from, the omen's black and the dragon is black.
Oh, okay.
So
you're really not a stranger to card draw. It's just usually you pay life for it, and only one of those cost you life.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna move to combat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna swing at you with my commander. And on attack, I'm gonna mill 3 cards, and then I may return a land card from among my graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Okay.
All right, I'll return this forest to the battlefield tapped.
Nice. Yeah, you hit.
And since it's technically leaving my graveyard, I get to create a 2/2 zombie druid token.
Yeah, first time seeing this token.
They're really cool.
Yeah, it's really
I
pretty.
like them.
Yeah, there's really nice colors on that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to declare no blocks on that, so I'm going to take 7.
Yeah, you will.
And I'm going to take 7, going from 23 down to 16. Okay.
This is starting to feel drastically different from our previous game.
Taval's really powerful. Also, having the Warden straight into the copy of the Warden has been very powerful.
All right, I will move to my end step.
Mm-hmm.
And I will increase the counters on my Warden copy.
Okay.
So it's now 6/6.
Yeah.
And I will pass.
Okay. I will untap. I will draw. I'm going to cast Roiling Dragonstorm. When it enters, I draw 2 cards, and then I can discard a card. And I will draw my 2. And I will discard this mountain. And then I will play an island as my land for turn. And I'm going to cast Magmatic Hellkite. When this one enters, I'm going to destroy a non-basic land you control. I'll destroy your tri-land.
Yep, my Opulent Palace.
And then you get to search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, but with a stun counter on it.
All right.
And notably, this is way worse with her commander, who can immediately get the palace back into play tapped. I honestly considered not declaring a target. However, I don't actually have a choice. This is not a May. When it enters, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. That is not up to one target. It is not you may. If there is a non-basic land that an opponent controls, you must declare a target. So no matter what, it was going to get destroyed and she was going to be able to put a land into play tapped. It's delayed, but I kind of just ramped her, but I need the flying blocker. So, you know, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah.
And since a dragon I controlled entered, my roiling Dragonstorm will come back to my hand. And since the Magmatic Hellkite was my second spell I cast this turn, I get to draw a card.
Nice.
And with that, I am just going to pass the turn.
Cool. I will untap, removing the stun counter from this swamp. I'll draw. I'm going to play a swamp as land for turn. Okay. I'm going to start off by paying 2 for Delta Bloodflies, and it's going to endure, and I'm going to put 4 +1/+1 counters on it.
Ouch. Okay. Just a 2-mana 5/6.
No big deal, no big deal. I'm going to move to combat.
Okay.
And I'm only going to swing at you with my commander. On attack, I'm going to mill 3 cards.
Okay.
And I'm going to return the Opulent Palace from my graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Okay.
And since the card is leaving my graveyard, I get to create another zombie druid.
All right. Well, you could have something, but I feel like I'm at the point where I can't really play around it. So I will double block your commander with my commander and the Magmatic Hellkite.
Okay, effects.
You have priority.
I'm going to pay a single black for Desperate Measures, giving my commander +1/-1 until end of turn, and when it dies under my control this turn, I draw 2 cards.
So you turn your commander into an 8/6.
Yep.
Okay. So currently you still get to kill one of my creatures. Your commander dies, but now you're going to draw 2 cards?
Yep.
Or do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pay 1 to Snakeskin Veil my commander.
Okay.
To give it another +1/+1 and hexproof, which doesn't matter now because I've already cast Desperate Measures on it. But now I'll be able to kill both of your creatures.
Yep, now you're going to kill both of my creatures, and your commander will still die, but you're going to draw 2 cards.
Yep.
Okay. That will all happen. That craziness. Okay.
All right, I will draw 2. And the nice thing is, now when I go to recast my commander next turn, it will endure even more.
Yes, it will just get bigger.
With that, I'm going to move into my end step, and I'm going to increase the counters on my Fleshcrafter.
Okay.
And I'll pass.
I will untap and draw. And I'm going to cast Elspeth's Storm Slayer. She's going to enter with 5 loyalty. And I'm going to immediately -3, putting her to 2, to destroy your Naga Fleshcrafter.
Yeah. It'll die.
Okay. And then I'm going to play a Windscarred Crag tapped and a gain a life going from 16 back up to 17. And I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay.
I'm still facing down a giant flyer. And even though your commander was removed, it left you behind 2 zombie druids and ramped you 2 lands. So I'm not feeling very good about my position right now.
Okay, I'm going to play a Jungle Hollow as my land for turn, gaining life going back up to 20.
Nice, okay.
And then I'm going to pay 6 to recast my commander.
All right, noticeably smaller this time.
Much smaller, but it's fine. It's okay. And then I'm going to pay 3 for the Naga Fleshcrafter's Renew. So I'm going to exile this card from my graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target non-legendary creature I control, and each other creature I control becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. So this will get exiled, and Taval will actually trigger, and I get to create a zombie druid.
Very nice.
And then I'm going to put the +1/+1 counter from the Renew onto Delta Bloodflies.
Strapping up that blood flies again.
And now all of my creatures will become copies of Delta Bloodflies until end of turn. So now everything is a 1/2 flyer.
Okay. You just missed your Grist deck so much. You had to turn your whole board into insects in honor of Grist.
I know. All right, I will move to combat.
Yep.
I'm gonna swing the Delta Bloodflies with counters at you, and then these two without the counters at Elspeth. On attack, since I control a creature with counters on it, you're gonna lose 3 life.
Yep.
Just directly.
I immediately go from 17 down to 14.
And then combat.
Yes, and I have no flyers. I have a spirit on the ground. So Elspeth will take 2, and Elspeth is going to die. Goodbye, Elspeth. And I'm going to take 6, going from 14 down to 8.
All right, and with that, I'm gonna pass.
Sure, I'm gonna untap, and I'm going to draw. Okay, I'm going to tap 6, and I'm going to replay my commander as well. And then I'm going to play an island, and I'm going to tap the island to cast Ringing Strike Mastery. That's the aura that taps the thing down. Yeah. But because it's my second spell, I get to copy it since it targets a permanent or player. So I'm gonna have the real one target your Bloodflies, and a copy of it target your Teval. To tap them both down.
Wow, my commander doesn't even deserve the original? That hurts.
Listen, I know that in reality, your real commander is the Bloodflies. And with that, I am very much on the back foot, being at 8 life. I'm going to pass the turn.
All right.
And the unfortunate thing is your commander has ramped you so much that you can actually pay. I know you can pay for 1. Do you have 10 lands yet?
I do.
You could just take your whole turn and untap both of them, which is terrifying.
We'll see. We'll see what I draw. I'm going to start by playing a forest as my land for turn. I'm going to pay 3 for a card we haven't seen yet. Awaken the Honored Dead.
Ooh.
It's an enchantment saga, and its first chapter is destroy target non-land permanent.
What would you like to destroy?
I'm gonna get rid of your commander.
Okay, my commander will die, and it'll cost 4 more to cast.
I'm gonna pay 4 for Scavenger Regent.
Ooh.
It's a 4/4 flyer with ward, discard a card.
Very cool. Okay.
And finally, I'm gonna pay 3 to cast Sage of the Fang. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. I'm gonna put the +1/+1 counter on the Scavenger Regent.
Yep.
I'm gonna move to combat.
Okay.
And I'm going to swing with all 3 of my zombie druids.
I will block 2 of them and take 2. Going from 8 down to 6, and my spirit token will die.
And one of my druids will die.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna pass.
And you have 1 card in hand?
1 card. 1
Okay.
card, 1 mana.
1 opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, and 1 moment.
Oh my god.
Will you capture it, or will you let it slip? Oh, sweaty. I'm in a really bad spot now. Oh man. My removal isn't even like hard removal, because you can just pay to get your things back.
Yeah, I can.
I need removal spells. So I am going to cast Winter Night Stories to draw 3 cards and then discard 2 unless I discard a creature. So I will be drawing 3. A 2, a 3. I will be discarding a island and an Evolving Wilds. That is unfortunate. Well, I'm gonna keep digging. I'm gonna tap 1. I'm gonna cast Consider, I surveil 1, and I draw a card. Does this help me at all? I will keep it on top and I will draw it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna play a mountain as my land for turn.
That was actually the card that you considered.
Yeah, that was the mountain I needed.
Ain't no mountain high enough.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low. Ain't no windscarred crag wide enough, baby. I'm gonna tap 2. I'm gonna cast Rally the Monastery, targeting your Scavenger Regent to destroy it, and I have to pay the ward. I will discard Way Speaker Bodyguard.
All right, and it gets destroyed.
And then I'm going to tap 2 For a Roiling Dragonstorm, when it enters, I draw 2 cards and I discard a card. And I will discard my Aligned Heart. Feels a little late for that, unfortunately. And I'm going to pass the turn.
I'm going to untap, draw, and at the beginning of my main phase, Awaken the Honored Dead. I will mill 3 cards.
I'm on the mill plan.
All right.
It's a nice full graveyard over there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm going to play an island. It's my land for turn. And I'm going to pay 5 to untap my Bloodflies and another 5 to untap my commander.
Certainly.
And I'll move to combat.
Yep.
Swing out. On attack, I mill 3.
Okay.
Wonder, Champion of Doosan, and Auroral Procession.
Do you have any lands to bring back?
It's a good question.
Your graveyard is practically your hand at this point.
I have a swamp.
Oh, there you go.
I will bring back a swamp from my graveyard. Tapped. And I milled Wonder. As long as this card is in my graveyard and I control an island, which I do, creatures I control have flying. So all of this has flying.
Yep, well, I was already dead just to the Bloodflies,
Yep.
but I was going to be able to block a Druid and at least felt like I did something.
And I would have created another Druid.
You did create another Druid, that's correct. So I am super-duper dead. Let's see, I'm being hit for 6, 8, 12, 16. Mm-hmm. I am at 6. I'm going to go to -10. And yeah, I'm super dead. You won.
Yay!
How does it feel being the hero of this story? You completed the hero's journey. You won 1 round. I was up 3 rounds. And this one, you just absolutely trounced me, which was really incredible to see, honestly. Your dragon just put in so much work. Plus, we got to see the Warden again, the hero from the very beginning. You even cloned it like you did in one of those earlier games. So being able to see that all come together, and with some new friends, I see, it really was a journey.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the commander was the biggest thing in this. The fact that I was able to just pump out all of these lands and like thin my deck and do all of this cool stuff, it was really fun. This was a very fun deck, and I can't wait to build this into a full commander deck.
Same with this. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would, and I already thought I would like it. I really like the idea of building this around the flurry mechanic, but not necessarily having to focus on instants and sorceries. In the past, when we were on this plane before, the Jeskai ability was prowess. So it was like, oh, cast non-creature spells, you pump everything up. I like that with Flurry, you can double spell on creatures, and there's some really cheeky things that they put, like that guy that copies itself if you cast another spell this turn. So I'm really excited to try this deck, build more around permanence and less around spell slinging, with just like a little bit of like cheap spells to just enable it. But it seems like a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I was able to play Shiko and Narset in the final round. Got to be able to do their thing. Being able to double remove your creatures was really cool, even though like you had so much mana, it didn't matter. And I was digging so deep. I had 2 more card draw spells that I found while I was trying to look for removal for that. So like, what an absolute blast. Mm-hmm. Like this set really, I feel like they really nailed it.
Yeah. Also, not even to mention the fact that for a single round, you switched to Mardu.
I did. I played Mardu, and it went really well. I was a little bit tempted to do Mardu, but I was like, nah, I came here to do Jeskai. I gotta do Jeskai. And honestly, it was the deck that I was most excited to build like outside of this, because I'm going to take this and put it into a full commander deck as well. And I don't have a Jeskai deck. So being able to like play it out in this environment and then see the direction that I want to go with it was really my goal. And I feel like I accomplished that, even though I lost and you absolutely destroyed me. You are now a blue player. I embraced black for 1 round playing Mardu. So, you know, I feel like we really There's a lot of development here for both of us. That's the whole point of the hero's journey, right?
Exactly.
So we are truly changed people from when we started this adventure.
I think of everything from today's episode, the most unexpected was that I played blue.
And speaking of which, how does it feel to finally be playing the best color in Magic?
I already did that 5 years ago when I first started playing black.
Fair enough. Also unexpected, I played aggro. I did a round with Mardu and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I guess I'm switching to the dark side too?
Yeah, it seems like in true hero's journey fashion, we entered the unknown and we came out on the other side changed. Better?
Better, I think.
I think so. Hero's Journey isn't just for pre-release. It's also a great way to put more life into draft decks, simply replacing the way you play the first round. It can also be scaled up by adding additional packs between rounds or swapping out play boosters for collector boosters entirely. But don't let us tell you how to play. It's your journey. Go on it.
Thank you again to Wizards of the Coast for helping us with today's video. And if you try a Hero's Journey for yourself, let us know what deck you built and how you did. And if you want to see us go on a Hero's Journey for future Magic sets, be sure to subscribe. See you next time here on Different Dice.